Are you ready? Or do I need to wait? All right, folks, let's all stand for the national, the Pledge of Allegiance. The Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I will call this meeting to order. An announcement of a quorum at 7:03. I do believe Deb is online and Adam is at a funeral. You would really answer that? Got a hammer and some nails? What do you want me to do? Test 1, 2, 3?
Hey, Dave.
Yeah, just to try this. Testing 1, 2, 3. Had some technical difficulties, Deb.
Okay, can you hear me?
You're on mute.
Huh?
You're
Can
on.
you hear me now?
No, she heard me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
That's, oh, that's speakers. Well, it says I'm not. I think that would turn them off.
Try it again, Deb.
Okay, I'm gonna.
All right. We're
unmute.
good.
You can hear me now. Okay,
Yes.
all right.
All right. So the meeting has been called to order. We have 8 board members present. I will entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda.
I'll make the motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Motion made by John, seconded by Nick. Any discussion? All in favor signify with an aye for the approval of the agenda.
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. I will make a motion for the approval of the board meeting motions of June 19th, 2023. Is there a second? Motion made by Dave, seconded by John. Any discussion? All in favor of the approval of the board meeting motions of June 19th, 2023 signify with an aye.
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 All opposed? Motion passes. All right, Deb, treasurer's report and presentation of bills.
All right. Can anybody hear me, or do you want to,
You got, yep, they can hear you because we got a microphone up here.
okay, cool. All right, if you look at the balance sheet and the profit and loss, you'll notice that they both are stamped preliminary. That is because the report from City and Village hasn't been read into our system yet, and that's where assessments are paid. So we'll have to finalize this. You notice on the P&L, I put an asterisk by assessment revenue because we know in June we got more than $11.80 because we would be in big trouble. But anyhow, the balance sheet then is short by that revenue amount. So what we're showing right now is our total assets. $1,148,191.55. And that includes all of our bank assets and our fixed assets. And then, of course, our liabilities balance that at $1,148,191.55. Does anybody have any questions about the balance sheet? The preliminary. I'm not going to ask you to approve it. I'm just going to give you a chance to ask questions because we know that we have to fill in that blank about the assessments received.
Any questions? Nope, go ahead, Deb.
Okay, then going on to the P and L. I just wanted to mention that in June, you see that we sold 128 hang tags, generating $3,200. And we sold 273 auto stickers, generating $6,825. And then we had 65 gate cards for $1,650. So our total income for the month of June, $32,714.29. Again, not including assessment income. Then,
Deb, I have the assessment number. You want me to read it?
yes, please.
All right, in June, through city and village, we collected $322,291.38. Year to date, including prior to June, we have $338,712.90.
Great. Okay, good. Thank you. So that ups our profit for the month of June quite a bit. Then I also wanted to point out, looking at the expenses, you see under contracted services, bookkeeping and consulting, $4,992.55. That represents the Rever annual fee. So it's a one-time fee each year. And Karen will talk more about Rever, but we've made a lot of progress toward getting ready to implement that.
And then next year, Deb, that'll be lower because we're only going to be paying for a license and not the implementation.
Yeah, that's a good point, Karen. Thank you. Okay, so you can look on down our net income again would be about a positive 3,002,000 and approximately 3,002,000 because of 3,302,000. I wish, don't you? So we'll insert those numbers from John and reissue this for final approval. But does anybody have any questions about anything else on the P&L?
Doesn't sound like it.
Okay, then just looking at our monthly checks. We've got that, the card center bill, the Rever was paid on a card. And so when it doesn't break out here on the check, but we paid Rever with the UMB card. Just to put that together. And then we had 2 lake treatments that we paid with check 3142. And that cost cutter snow plow, we get the dam mowed by using equipment they've got. We got the Arch Johnson bill for check number 3146 for the sand. We had some legal expenses under check 3155 and 3156, and those are collections of delinquent assessments. So these are the fees for the collections. These are not the amount collected. Then there's another one, check 3158. Does anybody have any questions about the checks cut?
3159.
3159 Arch Johnson. I'm not sure. Do you just
Oh, same day? No, 15 days apart. All right.
well, I'm guessing it's some kind of rocks that we needed from them, but we'll find out. We'll get the answer.
All right.
Hey, Deb, real quick on the 3 checks to Hawkins Smith. Those were people that sold the property, so the payment went through the title company. So that's the piece of the money that normally we would never see because most people pay these to the law firm. And we just see the end, but like the $150 of each one of those, the property owners paid. So it's not, it's some of that money is a wash.
Cool, good, thank you.
How do we have bank fees? Where are bank fees for the last on the bike side of that? The $25 bank fee?
Bank service charge fee, Deb, last
Those are-
line item.
I think those are credit card fees.
For what?
People using the credit card.
Oh, right, okay.
All right,
Now, part of the financial report would be the budget, and I had that put down lower on the agenda. So we'll
all right.
talk about
so
that later rather
set
than right
that
now.
aside. All right. I will make a motion to approve the treasurer's report and presentation of the bills with the added statement that Deb will insert the city and village assessment amounts. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor of the approval of the treasurer's report and presentation of bills signify with an aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Motion passes. John, communications and correspondence.
All right, communications received, KQLA, there was 6 questions, comments regarding the city and village, on the country club. 9 responses to the damage that happened to the pavilion porta potty area. We received 8 board resumes, 2 inquiries about the lakes, 1 ballot item follow-up. 1 input about handicap parking at the beach, 1 on saving spots on the beach. Question on how to report tailgating, 1 on roads fix, 1 on the guest tip, or guest gate tip. And 1 on supplies in the campground bathhouse. We sent out a communication about some road construct or some traffic or construction traffic that would be on Waterford Drive this week. Send out a Raintree roundup, sent a communication on the amenities damage. We sent out the updated rules manual, sent out a tip for the guest gate. Just to reiterate to everybody, do not allow people in the gate that you do not know. Don't pull up behind the car at the gate. So if the person doesn't belong here, they can back out of here. And then we sent out holiday reminders for July 4th and the notice for the board meeting. Just a couple other things. Assessments were due July 1st. We have a grace period until August 1st. August 1st, the 1% per month late fee will start to kick in if you're unpaid. The other thing on city and village, if you have a boundary line adjustment or a change in ownership, those have to go through the office. Don't contact city and village directly because they can't process that change. We have to do it here and then update the changes to city. Just a question for Desiree and Lakes and Beaches. You guys gonna recap 4th of July stuff in your presentations?
Which aspect of it?
Damage, fishing in the same area, snow stickers, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I
Okay.
can.
Okay, then, just an update with the collections attorney. We've got 36 delinquent, account owners collected, which is $5,231. There are 19 of them that were deemed uncollectible. Pretty much that the only income that people have was Social Security, and that's not attachable to a collection claim. Next step for these delinquent owners prior to 2023 is you'll be receiving a court notice to appear to settle up, and that's gonna cost you more money. So I advise every delinquent owner, get your account paid up. That's it.
All right, thanks, John. All righty, admin and legal. So legal, I will start with that first, that the attorney has reviewed the first correspondence of the annual ballot items. And John's got some updates for that, I believe, that we will continue to discuss. Outside of that, I don't think there's anything else legal other from our attorney, other than what was mentioned. I don't know, Deb, if you want to do administration, but I want to touch base on a few things first before we move forward. First, I want to thank everybody for coming both in public and online. I appreciate the attendance. Thanks for everybody showing up on a nice sunny night. So I want to clear a few things. There's been a lot of stuff on social media. And I have been accused, without being named directly, that I had a speed bump placed in front of my home, which if anybody wants it, they can have it, because my wife bitches at me every night about it. So I did not put it there. I did not request it there. The roads chair had it taken care of, and I guess worked with Tom. You probably had coordinated with the asphalt company or something to have the speed bumps put there. I never requested it, nor did I want it. Does it work? I guess. The $25 beach parking that's being highly discussed out there, that was beat to death by town halls, by board meetings, by emails, by anybody that wanted to talk to us. It was not done by the executive board. It was brought to our attention by the property owners. We talked about it, we roundtabled it, we town halled it, we did everything possible we could. Right or wrong, it was passed by this board along with property owner input.
And done on a temporary basis. We mentioned it
Right.
through that process that it was on a.
Going to review it every year, right?
Mhm.
Personally, I don't go to the beach. I don't benefit from it one way or the other. So the $25, I didn't even vote on. The board voted on it unanimously and it passed. For someone to say that one or two of us told somebody not to say anything, keep it quiet because of the different colored stickers, because one was good till June, the other one started in April. I have no idea who said it, why they said it, or what their motive was, but I can only guess that they said it to protect Sherry down at the beach so she didn't get in a shit show down there with different colored stickers and whatnot. Other than that, I have no inkling of why it was done. Business within Raintree. So we have been accused, or I have been accused, that we are hiring people from within Raintree. And this board, maybe not everyone, but this board voted that, or mentioned that we were going to try to hire contractors and personnel within Raintree. One, they might be retired. Two, we might get a better cut on a price. And three, they're close and convenient. Of that list that I could think of is Tom, our maintenance guy, who does an absolutely wonderful job. Hands off to him. Tammy, who is not here right now, but is working in the office with Wendy, has done a great job to help them all get up to speed and made it easier on us. Jerry, who works at the beach and keeps control down there and is our beach security, does a wonderful job. She's called me a couple of times. I don't know if any of you have worked with her, but she does a phenomenal job down there. Dan Osolinsky, retired security personnel. We get him for a fraction of the cost, what it would cost us to do everything. He doesn't hesitate to stop and fix a gate or a door or a camera or whatever it takes. John Irvin, who put a bid on to replace the networking, the Wi-Fi. I don't know how it's doing there tonight, but tonight's the first night we're testing it out great. hats off to John for spending unlimited hours up here to get that taken care of. So to all of these people, we couldn't survive. This budget that we currently are restricted by could not survive without the help of every one of these. There's probably others. To my next point, the website admin that we use is also the website admin I use from 2 of my businesses. We get her for $200 a month for 10 hours worth of work. I pay her $150 an hour for my business. So if you guys want to find a website admin that's cheaper than what she's charging, you are benefiting from the relationship I have with her with my business to get her for $200 an hour. That is an
Month.
absolute steal.
Yeah, about third it could be in the IT industry. That is cheap. It's a deal.
You can't find anybody for under $150 an hour. The attorney that we have for the Rain Tree, I also use him for my personal needs. I had him do a trust for myself. I also had him represent my company in a lawsuit on a hot tub. So unless we're selling hot tubs down here, and the attorney has addressed this multiple times with the individuals that are accusing me of conflict of interest, there is not. That same conflict that the attorney could go along with the website admin, because there's definitely not a conflict of there. And the last thing I wanted to say is the executive board doesn't do anything outside of determining what real estate, what personnel, and other confidential matters happen. We share that with the board once we have made a direction on how we're going to go, hiring somebody, buying real estate, and any other, or firing somebody confidential. I have, since I've been on this board, not fired anybody from the office or on this board or even threatened that. So to put all these rumors to rest, the executive board doesn't do anything without sharing that with the rest of the board. And for the people that want to know how this board operates, pick up a phone and call any one of us. Yes, whoever said that, yes.
Just like I say this, there are not 2 boards here.
No,
E-board is a nickname to refer to a group of the officers of the board. So you have a president, a vice president, treasurer, secretary. They're collectively referred to as E-board or executive board, but
By
they're
the
not.
bylaws.
They're not 2 different boards. We have 1 board. And as Dave said, the E-board handles the personnel matters. That'll be the first group with the legal matters that would come to pass. And, any actions that aren't confidential regarding the staff goes through the board.
absolutely. And for the people that don't know, I just want to let you know what a few of the folks or all of the folks on this board have done in a short amount of time. Karen, one of the newest board members that was appointed, has single-handedly going to overhaul the office so we don't have thousands of paper files that in the emergency of a fire would be completely lost. So hands off to you and Deb and John. I don't know if you had anything in it. John taking over communication has done a phenomenal job. I mean, I get tired of hearing his emails and seeing them and reading them. And sometimes he's got to call me. Hey, I sent you an email. Did you read it? Yeah, it's about 30 down here, John. I'll get to it. So hands off to John for doing everything that he has done. Nick on ACC and roads, phenomenal job. I think everybody in ACC, Wendy, you can attest to that. Desiree, you're there with them every week or every 2 weeks. Yes, absolutely. So it's a team effort. They're doing a great job. Nick's got a great study put together to try to do a strategic 5-year plan with the roads. Hats off to him for that. Desiree overhauled the rules, had some meetings, got it updated, got it to the website admin, got it updated. Everything's up to date. Hats off to her. I mean, that nobody wants that job. She's doing a phenomenal job. To the new guys, they've already stepped up, volunteered through email and text and saying, hey, I'll check this out. I'll check that out. I'll see what happened to the Johnny on the spot. Not hesitant to volunteer for anything. So even though they've only been here a month, they really have made a dent. So appreciate all you guys. I know Adam's at a funeral tonight. We do have a little update on the security stuff, and Deb, the treasurer. I mean, one of the things that we are doing is picking apart the finances, and she and I think Laurie are just tearing it apart, and we hope to just keep up that momentum with the finances and present a better job of that for you going forward. So hats off to this board. I can't say enough about them.
Thank you, Ron.
So Deb or Karen, do you have, well, I can read these if you want me to, or.
He's on a roll, let him go.
Yeah. All right, administration report, welcoming new Raintree residents and new property owners. Registering new auto boat, golf cart stickers and new hang tags. Which I am surprised about the revenue that we received off of that. I was nervous about it when it first happened. Reserving pavilion and campground sites, steady calls and emails from property owners regarding city and village, taking assessments this year, collection letters and invoices from the country club. Clarifying parking policy, that's probably at the top of the list. Assisting property owners with direction of usage and backgate kiosk. Working with ACC project rules and other committee projects. Working with property owners via email and in person to provide correct documents needed to get boundary line adjustments. And address questions from non-property owners inquiring, wanting access, et cetera, et cetera. Ted is going to be reaching out to you. He's got some clients that want to look at some property in here. I told him to call you on Tuesday. Huh? I think that's all on the administration side. Oh, okay, go ahead.
Okay, well, if you all have handouts, and where we're at right now with Trevor is we're in the document request. And we have to have documents for on that, so forms and stuff is created for document request. Right now, it looks like most of our processes are going to be initiated through document request. So this is really an important scenario that or situation that we're going through. All the forms that I created before had been created in a template, and there were some nuances to it that if you didn't hit the save button like every 10 seconds, you lost your information. So I put the forms in about 4 times this month. So that was kind of a little setback for me. But then if you turn the next page, it actually brings up the document request segment. And in there, you can send off, this is actually kind of a template in itself, because you can create scenarios that automate our systems with built in, it automates requests, and it also automates property owners with office workflows. So the document request can be templated to minimize the workflows by selecting where the forms will be moved and stored, creating automated emails and automated attachment documents. So if you look at this, it says destination. We can actually put a file or a folder or wherever we want this to go. And when we request this information, it'll automatically go back to that folder or file. So nobody has to fill it out and then send it back. It automatically goes back. Then there's an area where if you have a message that you're sending out to somebody, you can automate that message or template it so that all you have to do is fill in the blanks, or maybe it's just a standard message that you send out. And if you go to the next page, then you go into the request form. Well, that's where all the templates that were listed on the front page, they're stored there, and they're all completed so that all you do is attach them to this, and then you have to name the request. So then on the next page, you're going to come to, this is where they call, it's kind of confusing because there's form templates, but there's also doc request templates. So in this doc request template, we're going to name those. And so the girls in the office, if they want to say for something for ACC and they want to send it out to a builder, all they have to do is come here and select a request, and it would automatically shoot out with the documents and ask them to fill out documents, or the same with property owners. So if you're asking a property owner, say they want tags, and you can send an automated email to them, saying this is the information that we request, the form will be attached to it, they can upload it, it'll automatically come back into Rubber. And then we can have it in a file folder where somebody can review it, make sure that everything's there. And then it'll automatically go into that person's or property owner's file. So they're pretty cool. And the next page is just a copy of where you see the actual forms. And that's a portion of it, but the final product for the document requested, you'll see here's the recipient. So whoever you're sending it to, then I kind of made it so a small template of what it's going to look like when it goes to that particular person or group. And it'll have this form attached. You'll see everything that needs to be completed in yellow, and if it's starred, it's required information.
You know, today, probably everybody in here has a phone.
Mhm.
Will this come across and will you be able to read it on your iPhone also? Some applications don't necessarily meld into a phone. So I just, because a lot of people do their work on here.
Not sure, I will have to find that out, but if you can get your emails to your phones and you pull up your email, you should be able to pull it up.
But I'm talking about the applications that you can fill out, that type of stuff, the documents you're talking.
So, how we're setting it up right now, I don't know, I'll have to find that out. Find out,
Okay.
but how we're setting up right now is that somebody coming in the office, there's little impulsive form and things like that. If we have the automation can go on the website, you can go to the website, click the link, and you'll get the same information. You'll have all of this. This is what's required to fill out and complete these forms and return that. The next step would be if we're accepting payments, and I'm gonna kind of pull this out today. But we're accepting payments, we have to come up with some kind of a link back to our bank so that we can accept payments. And then I need to go back to Rubber and find out if we can put that link on the form. So that when they're completing the form, when they complete it, all they have to do is hit that link and it'll take them to the payment. And I'm hoping that we can get some kind of registration number from that payment that goes back on the form when it's sent to us. But I will find out about it.
I mean, there's a difference between PCs and Apple products and phones as far as the
Right.
applications go.
Right.
And it may or may not mush up.
Mobile
Right.
phones, yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Thanks, Karen. One last thing to administration. I always like to end on a high note. That the country club is in negotiations with a restaurant on a lease, and we will have more information next month. So anybody that wanted a restaurant, hoorah. All right, ACC. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Everything's been going good. Still doing monthly meetings, seem to be able to get to everybody. We are seeing more and more gravel driveways being popped up everywhere that are kind of random in nature. We just kind of want to make sure that everyone's going through the ACC, just so we can get a second eye on it, make sure it's not an eyesore, make sure we can kind of retain these property values, trying to get some sort of handle on it. From a liability standpoint, if we have an ACC approval, you're covered. But if for some reason you get a complaint on it and there's no ACC approval, there is grounds for censure, which we don't want it to get to that point. We really just want to talk to everybody and do like a common sense approach on how to get it done. That way everyone can still park the things that they need to park. But that's it. ACC is cruising.
Tuesday, second Tuesday and fourth Tuesday.
Well, it's discussion.
Okay.
So the idea is, if anyone has any issues, reach out to me directly. But currently, in the way it's gone in the past, is the ACC has been the third Tuesday of every month, and the board meeting was the third Monday of every month, which means as soon as we get out of this board meeting, we're going to an ACC meeting tomorrow, which makes everyone kind of, that wants a variance, have to wait an entire month to get their things done. Desiree was one that brought it up, and she said that if we were to move it to the week prior, do like the second Thursday of every month or something, get everyone, all the variances and everything accumulated, and then be able to bring it to the board faster, maybe make more sense. But I want to get to the ACC meetings because I know that Dave and Kurt probably have a reason why it was that way. So I just want to make sure we touch base with them before we bring up anything, but just an idea.
In my defense, actually, Wendy brought that up, so I was just,
Third hand, sorry, third hand. Is it already on the agenda? yeah, if anyone has any issues with that or sees any problems, just reach out to me directly.
Thanks, Nick. Good ideas. Get those projects moving quicker. Lakes, amenities and events.
Sure. Basically, I guess the first thing being a pavilion, there, it needs a new roof since I've always put in it. And I had contacted 6 different vendors to come up with either the patch or a whole new roof. Okay, so, wait to hear back from them.
Perfect.
I've met a few of them, 2 of them up at the pavilion, showing them what was up and what needed to be done, and they give us a couple bids. Regarding the foot wash spray, I've sent out about a 7-page quote to 21 different concrete/plumbing companies. And so far, I've gotten back 2 bids that are based around what they can do with concrete. I've talked to another one where they could do the whole thing. Just waiting to hear back from them on pricing and then present it to you all.
Is it gonna be electric pump or manual?
It depends upon what we do. Given 3 options, one being where it's a shower foot, just foot, from the water source, which would be Jeffco Water and Sewer,
Oh,
which is right across the road from the parking, and/or a pump into the lake. Problem with that is it's gonna back up, the pump will get stuff sucked into it, not work. And then, as Tom said, water and electricity right next to each other don't work very well.
I
So,
beg to differ.
okay.
So you would just do like one of those open valve ones, kind of like we had with the pavilion, something to that extent?
That's also, it.
Yeah,
And then the 4th option is tell us what you think would work, being a contract guy or a plumber. So just kind of waiting to hear back from everybody. So, but like I said, send emails to 21 different people and just got 2 people to return so far. The other thing that I've done too is I noticed that we have committees, and I noticed that there's about 10 or 12 people on the Lakes and committee, and there are places that are around Missouri, like Innsbrook, that also have lakes and golf courses and homes, and they treat their lakes. And what we need to do, and what I'm trying to do, is to see if I can use a committee to help me to reach out to a variety of these locations that are around the state to figure out what they do, because there's a lot of people who are not happy with the current treatment that's being done to the lakes, particularly at Spring Lake. And also you see it on Facebook, since you're talking about, social media, where people are not happy with what the lakes are. So I figure if we kind of reach out and touch these folks, find out who it is that they're dealing with, how happy they are, maybe we can get a good idea. And I understand that in October, I think the contract's up currently. So there's
September,
gotta be-
October, somewhere
Yeah,
around
there's
there.
gotta be a new one, right, for next year, no matter what. So we gotta put that together to get the numbers in and see who's the best and make sure everybody's gonna be happy.
For sure, and it might be worth reaching out. We got 3 quotes last time, or 2 quotes. We had quotes from last year that we can probably strum up somewhere that you can look into those companies.
I already grabbed them.
Perfect.
The
Perfect.
mail system.
Yeah,
So,
perfect.
Yeah.
Solitude, you probably don't want to call.
Well, it's interesting.
Not our
because I
fans.
called Innsbrook and I said, hey, who you using? How are they? Oh, we use Solitude, and it's like,
Honestly, when they were on top of it, it was great. It's when they,
Abandoned.
yeah,
It was a lack of management and lack
Yeah.
of communication, so I mean.
anyway, nice work in a short amount of time. Thank you for all that effort.
Extra 30 grand.
$30,000 deposit. Anything with amenities or in events? I guess amenities was the,
Well, yeah. I sent everybody the form for the luau, which is dated for August 5th. Be at the pavilion, the campground, beach. It is for Raintree owners and their families. Does anybody have any questions on the form?
No, I thought it looked fine. No questions. All right, so everybody knows about the luau that'll be coming from the events and adventures emails, so keep an eye out for that. I think it's in a couple weeks, isn't it? August 5th. All right, maintenance. Who is that nowadays?
That's gonna be me.
Okay.
Did you do this? I did. You want to read it?
Welcome to the board.
Replace 6 light fixtures vandalized. Gathered video evidence of damaged porta potty incident and made police report on it. Anybody heard about that?
Pretty crappy deal, wasn't it?
Shitty joke.
Should have stuck with your look. Swapped out vandalized picnic bench at beach. Bought paint and covered graffiti under the Spring Lake Spillway overpass. Everybody's seeing a little bit of a pattern going on here? Yeah. Tarp pavilion roof damaged from tree falling on it during the storm. Summer grass cutting, shrub trimming, etc. Keeping busy with the campground, pavilion rentals, and large amount of traffic at the beach. Trim trees, overhanging roads, dead trees on common ground, and cleared line of sight blocks due to vegetation growth. Performed routine maintenance and repairs on mowers and equipment. As a note, the maintenance crew asked that everyone please do what you can to reduce the amount of loose trash on our roadsides and do not dump yard waste into ditches.
Tom, you forgot the most important thing. A dead deer got hit by a car on plantation, sat there for a week, was smelling terrible for a couple 100 feet. And I called Tom and he took care of it in 30 minutes and was gone, so.
Well, say that just driving here, maybe Waterford, from this rain, there's a tree branch that's down, it looks like it's over the road.
That won't be 30 minutes.
Just saying.
It sounds like deer sausage, stay clear.
I don't know if that's a property owner. On their property, but it's on the road.
Anybody else, man, they get one of those maintenance or?
All right, roads.
We're just waiting on Vernon Jones, for his, report back on our long-term plan. Also reaching out to, another vendor, possibly two, to see if they are interested in, charging us a long-term plan for the roads. And pretty much everything for roads is on hold until the September election. Are we gonna get the roads assessment passed to be able to take care of the roads or not? So.
All right, thanks, John. Desiree, rules.
There was 32 parking censures and complaints made over the past month. Surprisingly, most of those were not over the 4th of July weekend. There's only, I think, a handful of people that actually got censured from that weekend. There were 3 tailgating incidents, a loose dog censure that was sent out, a censure of fireworks done on POA property, and 1 swimming censure that was sent out. The new rules manual has been uploaded and posted online. So all censures that were sent out or anything that happened from July 3rd on, will get the new censure prices. Over the 4th of July weekend, there were multiple boats and hang tags that were expired and boats that didn't have any stickers that were out on the water, parked in places they shouldn't have been. And some of those hang tags we weren't even able to identify because they're so old. There are people shooting off fireworks on POA property on the beach parking lot off of the dam. I had the luxury of getting to tell those people not to do those things, and they said that they've been doing it for years. So obviously that's something that probably should be watched out for a little bit more next year. Because they were shooting them off actually towards the campgrounds and there were tents down there. So I'm sure those people would have been really happy if they got lit up. Parking was complained about. Speaking of social media, parking was complained about quite a bit about the difference between the parking for golf carts and cars. I talked to the Lakes and Beaches chairs here and decided to put the parking censure in the rules manual before we posted it. And they both agreed that it was a good idea to put up signs that golf carts park in one place, cars park in another. Even if golf carts, all the parking spots are taken. I know I've seen previously done before, they will park across the street, like along the line of going towards the campgrounds. And I feel like that's probably the best thing to do because again, there is so much that gets done over holiday weekends that there's just no parking for everybody. So it's kind of like early bird to the worm spot. So we will hopefully be putting up signs, like I said, for each of the 2 different places. Some of the censure prices have been raised compared to other places. So like the vandalism for sure got raised to the highest amount of 500. So anything else that gets done, I believe it was started at 250, 225. Yeah, that shot up all the way to 500 because the vandalism in here is out of hand. It's ridiculous. And I mean, just hearing Lakes and Beaches, people going through theirs and maintenance, what maintenance has to do with on top of it, it's ridiculous to be going through almost every other week, it seems like. So that's all.
What about, you guys were talking about something to prevent fishing at the beach, fence or rope or,
Oh, I forgot about that.
People nets.
yeah. I like it. I like it.
Tables have turned.
I know we didn't get anywhere with it, but we were talking about it.
Yes, actually, there was some complaints made that people have been fishing too close to the swim line or too close to the swim thingamabobber. I don't know what it's called, the that thing.
There's a picture of kids. There's somebody that was fishing off the beach.
Yeah, I thought I seen him
Yeah,
walk right
they-
in.
Have you seen the size of the bluegill though? Like, it's probably a good spot.
All right, Nick, you're not helping me.
Sorry. Where were we?
We were at the thingamabobber.
Oh, yeah, right.
The kids throw their chips.
Yeah.
But we were looking at putting up a sign also. I had said, and I think it was Miss Sherry that I was talking to, the security lady, about putting it like right on the end of where the last porta potty was, the handicapped one, the bigger one. Putting one there, and then I think about 20, 25 feet off of the other side to let people know that if they're caught even with a fishing tackle box or a fishing line or whatever on the other side of that sign, they are automatically getting censured for it, or they're getting told to like go home. Because I personally wouldn't like a hook in my foot, so I feel like that's probably the best option, is to have a clear-cut sign. So.
Anybody's got any ideas about keeping fishing poles off the beach? Feel free to.
I mean, then electric fence was suggested, I believe. But, you know, electric and water.
Yeah, water.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
Just a-
Tell me about that. He said that you can shoot signs, correct? And there's already.
Big sign.
Oh, it is, the one that everybody walks past and doesn't read.
Where they set their push and pull, they'll fade on.
There's not really that many pictures on there, to be perfectly honest with you.
We didn't realize. we
Can I
had pictures.
ask them, Does the porta potties were removed, but there's still a post in the ground. That can be moved to the far end of, right before you get to the drive across the beach, the dam, I guess. We can put a sign there.
Yeah, I mean, for the handicap porta potty that was destroyed by Arlington Beach. Those are gone. The one I left in there because that's gonna be used again. We have more view channel. I mean, but that's the problem even there. We just we gotta put so many trash cans up there now. We just put one there. So it doesn't look so out of place. Yeah. Get a sign, the falling ground. And it's time for the big one.
Yeah.
Put flashing lights on it.
All right, thanks, Desiree. Security. So we have met, a few of us met with, got a proposal on a security for the entire subdivision. Watch, what is it? Watchtower. They reached out to them, to try to get everybody up to speed, and they will do a Zoom call. I didn't get very many yeses to that, so I don't know if nobody else, I think both of you guys responded. Anybody else?
I did.
Be
I did.
involved? Okay. Anybody else that wants to be involved in that Zoom call, I'll set it up for next week or the following, but we do have there's not a whole lot we can do because we're kind of waiting on that ballot item with the security assessment. But it does look like a great opportunity to have somebody else manage and monitor the cameras in the subdivision. That's about all I got on that. Okay, John, I think you said yes, right? I know you're busy.
You just peer pressure people nowadays? Yeah, I'm in.
I have it at your house.
Well, I guess I'm going.
So I was not at some of the meetings and obviously I wasn't involved in the watchtower to look for the security pieces, but still some questions I have is, one, I only see one bid and my understanding is there's supposed to be 3. 2, this is a year contract and we're not sure where money would come next year for this. And 3, don't we have a system in the office over here that looks at cameras now?
The
Yes.
only issue with that is though, that it doesn't, it's not, this would also add in more cameras that are covering the places that we can't with just the few that we have. At least that was my understanding of
Yes, I
it.
think there's 13 to
It was
17
up to
cameras.
13.
Right.
Those
So-
gates become true license plate readers,
We did,
not just a photo.
yeah, so to answer your first question, we do have, I think, at least 2 other bids that were
Okay.
done previously that will merge together with all that before we make a decision. The other thing is this is more of a supply, maintain and manage. So they have all the equipment, they own it, they install it, they manage it. If we need things, there's a portal that we can go and download video and whatnot. So that's a little different than the other companies. It might be worthwhile. I have those contacts. Whoever wants to do it, I'll do it, or we can wait till after September. But it might be worth revisiting with them to say, hey, we're looking for a management of this operation as well. I think we were just looking for hardware and software initially. So there are 2 other companies involved in that when we get to that point. To your other question about 1 year, that's why we're not doing anything yet, because they install them for 1 year, we pay them, and then they rip them out in a year. It doesn't make sense. So
I'm under the same impression you are. And I think that when it comes to security, I know it kind of keeps bebopping into our agendas, but really we need to have a solvable problem. And I don't know if adding cameras to the gates and reinforcing our gates are going to fix the problem of vandalism, because a lot of times it's from within our gates, it's our guests. And then if they are vandalizing something, we don't recognize their faces anyway. So there's nothing we can do to prosecute, you know what I'm saying? So spending $100,000 on security system is over 5 years is one thing, but if we can't use the information to gain any more revenue, you know, or help us in a situation, I think it might be. I just want to see us have a solvable problem.
Right, I would say that we have the current cameras that we have or we hope that it's gonna solve a problem. We don't know that yet, but we're letting the authorities take care of that. I do believe the new cameras, top of being better and more, that probably adds to your solvable problem, you know, whether or not I don't think they got facial rec on them or anything like that, but I mean, we've prosecuted people off of just video and whatnot. So I don't know. If nothing else, we got to at least listen to it and see what
Right.
comes up. But I agree with you. We need to be able to.
In regards to that and the vandalism though, even though it is within our gates, if we have more cameras to watch over a larger area, like the beach area that tends to have it under maybe each spillway if we have to. Just like we did with this last issue and posting the kids' pictures, we were able to, I think, get some kind of feedback from different sources of, hey, I think this looks like so-and-so's kid, or this looks like so-and-so. I think that's probably what we should be doing anyways, anytime that this comes up. And this is something that I did bring up, I believe, when I first joined the board, but we didn't really go anywhere with it because we weren't sure where more or less it was going, and it wasn't as bad as it is now.
Right.
So,
I agree with that, but the problem is, we're not doing $28,000 worth of damage a year. That's the problem. Right, so yes, you want to live in a good neighborhood in a subdivision, but it's the 80-20 rule, right? I
you
mean,
know,
I don't think you'll be able to stop at 100%. I mean, we were all kids one day, you won a couple years ago too. But yeah, I think I like the idea of gates and security, but I just want to make sure that we have a real need for it, that basically, if it's worth it, let's do it. But if we don't have a need for it, and we're just trying to reinforce it, I think I'm with you, is maybe that money's better spent somewhere else.
But security,
Go ahead, Deb.
security is rated as a very high priority by a lot of our partners. So I think it's worth exploring what to do for them for the money that we have or that they're willing to approve on the ballot.
I
We're
agree, security is
always
high, but
spending
I don't think
money.
this is gonna do any more than what we have currently. You better get a higher resolution picture, or you might get a better picture at night, but I don't know if it's still gonna be able to identify the suspect.
My concern is you're just gonna have more opportunities not to be able to do that. Okay.
Right. That was the car. Yeah, he lives in Jefferson City, like.
Yeah, okay, so,
Yeah,
something needs to be done. I know down, a little lower down here, we've got thoughts on a security town hall meeting, which I'm all for. I just think security is a big thing here. We're trying to do something, any more suggestions from anybody would be welcome, but something needs to be done.
One of the things they did say that's a little different than anything that we have the ability to do without tons of research is when they do a license plate grab, they actually work with the authorities. Wasn't that what they said?
That's what I was gonna bring up.
They work directly with the authorities, so it kind of removes us from the office and us, and they don't have to worry about us getting somebody behind the camera and spinning it for 3 or 4 hours and trying to figure out when they came in the gate. They have all that, and they work with the authorities to do if there is prosecution possible.
That'd be a good one.
Yeah,
It's all the cost though. So, if you're looking at expenses, we look at other things.
Yeah, I mean-
submitted some of that stuff to the police department too, and
well, we got I don't know if you see my email, but we,
got some back.
yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what one thing I wanted to clear up too, that brings up a good point. When the mailboxes got damaged, unless the mail is destroyed in there, there's nothing you can really do federally to prosecute them. And I guess that means if they tear your mailbox out and the mail goes flying somewhere and gets wet or torn up, hitting a mailbox is no different than somebody driving through your garage. So the POA doesn't have any authority over that. We can try to give you any kind of, or let the police department or the authorities, whoever's investigating it, have any access to any video coverage. Again, with this, it might be better, but the thing with the pavilion, and I don't know if the dam's going anywhere, but the porta potty, that is definitely, I think those cameras are better resolution and So that would help. But we can only do, really, we can only turn it over to them unless we find out that it's an actual property owner and have evidence of that. So we do everything we can and we work with the authorities. So I know security is a big deal. Maybe this isn't the right way to go, but maybe there's another flavor out there.
If we looked into additional or different type gate systems instead of the noodles we've got.
Yes, so that's one of the quotes I got. Keith, I was kind of working with Keith on that. So one of the things that was being done is twofold system. Initially, we were I got a bid on putting the similar type of gate with the operator with a spike strip across the ground. So once you coat it in, the spike goes down, you drive over it, it comes back up, nobody can tailgate, or you can't just bash the gate like you do now. You'll have 4 flat tires. The second phase of that was RFID. So didn't really resolve all that, but there's the same company does that kind of stuff. The cost of an RFID tag was anywhere from $5 to $10, $12 maybe. The thing that we have to be cognizant of is that was brought to our attention is if you don't use something other than foam gate and it's RFID, then they could tailgate you in. So you really need the spike strip along with an RFID because somebody at the gate couldn't flag it and open, and then somebody 30 feet away could get in. So there's a lot to be looked at, but all that's in those quotes, and I'll, if you want to look at them, I'll send them to you.
I love to see it.
Yeah.
It's just that, on the little thing that went out and everybody responded to, those security seems to be the top 2 out of 3. So, and then with the potties being blown up and the pavilion being destroyed with the lights.
It'd be more expensive. So if we do get the strips, though, we have to come up with some kind of contingency. And if you're gonna have a car sitting there, nobody will be able to get in and out.
Yeah, I've maintained forever that the best way to have a gate with something like that is to have a guest lane right next to it, but I don't know if there's that kind of room at every gate. All good questions, and we can revisit, maybe go over that in another town hall. All right, I think that's all the committee reports. Unfinished business, budget review and approval. Deborah.
All right, as you will okay, sorry, I'm getting feedback. As you will recall, last month I handed everybody on the board a copy of a proposed budget, and it's in 2 parts. There's a proposed budget for the first 6 months, or this 6 months, July 1st through December 31st. And then a second column showing estimated budget for January 1st, 24 through 6/30/24. Both of those periods work from the most part from income that we are taking in right now with our assessments. And this is a change because in past years, our budget year was July 1 through June 30. And it's awkward with our systems. It's awkward because our accounting year with the CPA is January 1 through December 31. So this is a first step to moving us toward a budget that matches our fiscal year. Now, I gave everybody another copy of this in case you didn't look at it, didn't remember to bring it, whatever. And I had asked for questions about it, and I don't think I got any questions so far, but maybe you brought questions with you. I hate to go through and repeat everything I said last month, but the income is an estimate. We had taken a deep dive look at assessments and felt that we were overestimating what our upcoming assessments would be on our last few budgets. And so we adjusted to a more realistic expectation of our assessment income. As you go down through these pages, you see our income on the first page and then expenses for different departments, going on down to, for example, legal is on page 3, administration is up just till legal is the last item under total administration. And then we have lakes and beaches, roads repairs, maintenance, Tom's maintenance, security. So if you've all had a chance to look at that, we need to approve the 6-month budget for July 1st through December 31st. And one of the things I had mentioned that you can see at the bottom of page 6 is that this budget is actually not in balance. It actually is spending about 14,000 more than we're anticipating revenue to be. So
Jeff, the only thing that I had mentioned previous was rubber. And so when you're looking at January to June 24, that's going to be $3,000.
What page is
okay,
that on?
so we have
On
put,
page 2, about middle.
oh,
Okay.
right straight in the middle, data conversion rubber. Okay, so you're saying it'll be 3,000 instead of 5,000?
Right.
Okay, well, that's great. But that actually is due in May, so we could move that to the second 6 months, couldn't we?
Right. Right.
So move all of it, the whole 3,000 is what you're saying?
I'm saying cross out 5,000 and put 3,000 to the right of it in the next 6 months.
Well, it would be May of next year.
Right.
So
And
it
that
would be-
second column is January through June.
Yeah, right. So it would be in that second column.
Right. However, all that does is it saves us 2,000.
Right, exactly.
So now we're only 12,000 out of balance. Does anybody have other comments about their own budget?
One thing, I know we've discussed this, and I know we just seem to always stick with the same vendors a lot of times. Is it worth trying to reach out to some insurance companies and get a better quote?
I talked with our insurance broker when we renewed back in May, and he assured me that he is looking at different companies to get us the best rate. So we would, I don't have any objection to that. But it isn't that we're just sticking with the same company without any comparison.
Once we get rubber going, we should have some savings in paper and even with the copier printer. But I don't know how much that's going to be until we actually start moving forward. It's not going to be a huge amount, but there will be some.
Savings and things like folders and all that kind of stuff.
Well, yeah, because we won't need to have that. Plus,
Mhm.
you know, whatever goes along with those folders.
Karen, anything stick out to you?
Well, one is that it's upside down. And with the rubber, we're still about 12,000 upside down.
Right.
You know, the other thing is that, you know, by allocating all the projected revenues out, there is no rainy day fund. So, you know, between what Tom spent on the picnic tables, you know, doing the repairs of the damage he did, we got a almost $4,700 bill for whoever blew up the porta potty. I mean, if, you know, the risk we run is if the revenue projection is low, or it comes in lower than what's there, something's gotta give. You know, so we had talked about in the past, not allocating everything out and leaving something behind, but, you know, I'm not exactly sure what that, what that means that we cut.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, we've
you know,
already
I-
cut roads so much. I mean, roads
Yep.
is easy because it's big, but we've cut it so much and people care about roads.
You know, we do have the one, we're gonna talk about it in new business. We do have the one potential maintenance, labor change,
Mhm.
coming up that Tom had gave us some input on, so we're gonna talk about that in a little bit. You know, I mean, you know, I'm not gonna be popular over this comment, but Nick and I have said it before. It's like our Band-Aid approach to fixing the roads is, you know, it is not worth. If all we have is $225,000, it's not worth doing anything to the roads.
Yeah, but it's also not, we're spending that money elsewhere though. You have to keep it, I'm on the same page with adding mobilizations to get more bang for your buck once the crews are actually here, but we can't spend that money elsewhere. You're gonna get yourself into a bag of tricks fast.
We're already in the bag of tricks.
But your get out of jail free card is,
We already got, roads that, you know, need to be fixed and, so. Yep. But like I said, I mean, I can't see sinking another $225,000 into the roads that are gonna.
we have to, whether it's this year or next year, we have to have that that money earmarked for it. That's not an option. I mean, yeah, we can get ourselves out of a bag of tricks right now, but like the river and stuff like that, like at some point, we're gonna have to stop making progress in order to keep the infrastructure up, because there's nothing more important than the infrastructure for our property owners.
I got it, but we both know that for $225,000, unless you're gonna sit there and save it for 5 years, you know, nothing's gonna happen to the road.
It's gonna get the worst case scenarios fixed, and some of them. You have to.
Okay, so options, we do have a ballot item regarding a roads.
Yeah.
Approach to roads,
So the ballot
correct?
item is gonna add $150 a year as a separate assessment to everyone. I say everyone's property, it's voting right
Per-
property,
Per voting, right, per vote.
right, which should match the golf course, I think, right? People that pay the golf course would pay, anyway, $150 a year for those properties should net us somewhere in the neighborhood of 450 to 500,000, wasn't it, John?
565.
565 plus the 225 that we would have from the original budget,
That includes 225.
so it'd be
We'll get about three something out of
300,
it.
so we get $300,000 a year plus the 200,000 we'd have indefinitely. And it would be in the added to the covenants as an earmarked budgetary item, so meaning that you, even in boards to come, that money would have to be used for the roads, good, better, and different, because just like we're trying to do right now, you're taking that money and using it elsewhere, and we want to make sure that money gets spent on the roads, because if you let the roads go for 10 years, you're gonna be in a real bad way.
And as you see, as we go through there, there's two options that people have for the road, so.
Well, how do we approve this when it's lopsided? Are we-
So
Well,
many questions. This is the
Here's
most-
the other question though, is because I've never done 2 6-month budgets before. Usually you're approving a whole year's budget. Are we approving a whole year's budget right now, or are we approving 6 months and then there's going to be a 1-year budget approved?
That's what I thought, we would do 6 months.
We're gonna approve 6 months and the end of the year, we'll prepare a full year for all of 2024.
I
Yeah,
couldn't,
Approve 6 months and then we'll approve a 1 year in December, January.
Now,
and then we'll have a better sense of the actual revenue from things like hang tags and day code.
And to do that in
And
this
so forth,
format, you
for
would
that-
take January 1 to December 31 as a reference, correct?
Mm-hmm, right.
Okay.
This is just a preliminary budget approval, right? So it's,
Get it through 6 months.
it's not necessarily
It's-
anything that's gonna be,
You know, what's the real budget?
No, this is the real budget for 6 months. The real budget for 6 months.
So is it, oh, lakes and beaches. So at the beginning of the year, if nothing has changed and we can't find savings, something's getting whacked. In January,
Yeah,
hopefully some of these assessments will pass or something.
Can I make a suggestion instead of something getting whacked? Wouldn't it make more sense to take a percentage of each one of the items to come up with the number that we need? That way, everything's being cut.
it would, but how are you gonna cut your phone bill by 10%? Some of them are fixed costs. So you, that's the hard part of taking a, see what you're saying? But a lot of a lot of the stuff is like fixed costs. So you're networking, that's not a negotiable thing. It's a pretty straight answer.
Well, I think that the networking, I think the networking prices of the internet's crazy. For.
John, can we pay you in a year? Can we pay you in our year? That's 12,000 right there.
That's not what we talk about.
That's not what he's talking about. That's not what he's talking about.
well, when I put this together, what I had been asked to do was a 6-month budget. But I knew that you can't, that you have to be responsible. Your expenses still have to be tied back to your projected income. And so that's why I did 2 budgets.
So my proposal just a moment ago was.
I can't tell if somebody's
Percentage.
just making noises.
Speak up a little bit.
The percentage, and as Nick said, well, you can't do that because some items are fixed costs, but
A lot of
everything's
them.
not fixed cost, is it? I mean.
Most of them are.
50%, 40%, 80%, whatever. Is, not fixed, and maybe those are the ones that we take the percentage of. You can't do it across the board, you do it to the ones that you can do versus saying. Let's take it all out of roads, let's take it all out of beaches, let's
Sure.
take it all out of rules, but whatever. Yeah,
You could come up with a handful of categories and say, okay, these won't be affected one way or the other because of the being a vendor that we can't touch. So then there is that possibility to throw them in there and take 5% or 2% or whatever it would take to get down to that.
So we're talking about $12,000. Where are we gonna start?
Well, I don't think we really need to start yet, right, Deb? We need to really start looking at what we can try to tighten
Yeah.
up come January.
Right, I think that 2 things. One, we need to approve a 6-month budget. We need a budget to work from. And when the end of the year comes around, we're gonna have a lot more information about our income than we do right now.
Right, so I think technically we're only 6,000
Is it
lopsided.
possible that we can just leave this until January? And just run with the budget from last year until we have a real good sample set? Because you're just gonna be shooting in the wind here, right?
No,
How the budget's
No, we
ever-
have
it's sitting in the way.
we have expenses we
best you
didn't
can
have a
guess
year
on.
ago.
It's the best you could guess off of what
It
your.
should be
run
to a
rates
certain
were last
extent, but it
year.
should also be based on the cost we had for last year.
Well, it was.
Well, right.
Yeah, all the income, all the expenses were based upon what we ran last year at, or the last 12 months leading into preparing this, plus whatever known ups or downs we had as far as cost increase or decreases. You know, we're not
Additional
paying
types of income.
We're not paying AT&T $975 a month anymore, on that,
But we have Rever, we have different phone bills than we did, but we've taken those things into account here. I think we should go with the proposed, go
I
ahead.
mean, part of what will help us tremendously is when we try to do a July through a budget going into July, you're running a crapshoot at your revenue. Well, if we do the budget January through December, you already know the lion's share of the revenue,
Oh, I
you
don't,
know, that you have.
I
for
don't think
next
anyone's
year.
arguing they
So,
keep the July to July. I think that we just gotta get to January, that's all.
Right, and at the same time, two things gotta happen during that time. We gotta tighten our belt from now until the end of the year and start maybe like you said, getting these other bids and maybe the insurance company and whatever we can find cheaper bids for the same services.
And look, see what is items that we just have to pay. This is the number, it's $1,000 period and the story. But yet something else is maybe a little bit more flexible on pricing and put that in a category, that group, and see what kind of,
Yeah, I mean, if we get to that point where we gotta take a percentage, 1 month the lake don't get treated. You don't get an extra road that you thought you were gonna get.
Back to the roads.
Uh,
Yeah, right. Jeez.
okay, you guys fight it out.
by the way, he passed.
Yeah.
Yeah, you look that direction.
So I'm okay with passing this 6-month budget, Deb.
It doesn't work. We can't pass it.
Well, you gotta pass it with, it passes to get to January though.
This 6-month budget balances, you won't be short until you try to spend the last $12,000 next June.
So that's a full year that we're $12,000 upside down, not
Right.
just the first 6 months, right?
Right.
You know, I mean, I
76,000.
mean, normally you wouldn't approve an unbalanced budget if the government.
Because the first time we were running, we're gonna have money we didn't spend.
Yeah, I mean, we, you know, because it's a budget, you'll have things,
So
that
even-
we may get more revenue than projected, we
A
may.
significant amount more revenue with
We
the
may
gate
run
cards
out.
and the boat stickers and the car stickers. We're still upside down after all that revenue. Cause there's $70,000 extra in here for all those stickers. and We're still upside down. We have, so on the far right. Boat stickers is a 35,000 budget. We've,
That's not new revenue, that's same, it's not.
the boat stickers, right?
Yeah.
Auto stickers.
They've always
Your
been.
auto stations, your auto stickers went up,
One, page 1.
So there's-
and your auto stickers went up and your.
So we got $3,000 in auto stickers. Where's
We have $50,000 less in a projected assessment.
That's where it's coming from. Okay. All right.
But most of this income is going to come in the first 6 months. We're not out of balance for the first 6 months. We're out of balance stretching it for the 12 months.
And so something may not cost us what we, you know, what we think it will. You know,
I don't know if I'm behind approving a budget that doesn't work.
Well.
You're approving a
either-
6-month budget. That works.
The one that you gotta be in fear of is in January. That's the one where you gotta tighten the strings or find more money.
And that's a new budget.
If we look at our non-fixed and we come up with some percentage to take a lot, if we can, then we can make it to December, right?
Yes,
And then from that point on, we'll be working with the full year's budget.
and the different numbers, real numbers.
Right, right. So we have to determine our fixed costs. And then look at our non-fixed costs. And shave off a percentage. And hopefully we can come up with the $6,000.
I mean, the other real scary thing in here is really censure assessments should not be considered in income.
well,
It's
the other
really
one
not
is
the
we got,
goal.
I don't know what Tom spent, but we got $4,700 worth of a bill that isn't accounted for anywhere for that quarter pilot. That was blown up, so.
And I know, since I haven't been here very long, so the lien filings are, what, $1,400 up to $6,600. Are we getting anything back from that?
Now, the lien is, if you file the lien, it protects your claim against the property
Right.
in a sale. If you don't file the lien, then the property can be sold without your ability to collect.
Well, Well, you got money back already though, right?
We got about, well, we haven't filed any liens yet.
No, but
We got about 12 grand back past due assessments.
So we are looking at getting some income from that, to
Well,
offset the payments.
Get the
Or
collection.
maybe
I wouldn't say that your liens are to protect you against the sale of the property. If the property doesn't get sold,
right.
the lien doesn't do anything for you. So, well, Nick, if it helps you, let's can we defer this to after we talk about the volunteer network? Because
sure.
you may have one employee in it and the taxes coming out of this if this thing flies. And that will more than balance the budget.
You okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
all right. Ballot items, next thing under unfinished business,
All right.
review and
Hopefully,
recommendation.
we're not going through all of this here. I'm just gonna share with you, it's not on your printed document. But I'll go through with you Ted's feedback. This would be on page 1, the voting rights ballot item. He said, replace owning a lot with a home on that lot shall be entitled to 2 votes. A member owning a lot without and replace it with who owns a lot without a residence on it shall be entitled to only 1 collective vote irrespective. So we just corrected some verbiage in that, didn't change the meaning at all. Any questions on that one?
Pretty straightforward.
All right.
a little bit louder, please.
Okay.
Still need my phone to hold it as an anchor.
Staying put, is that better? Nope, nope, it's not.
No, it's not. That's not.
I could just put it in between the tables.
Can you hear me now?
See?
All right. Is that any better?
Oh, nice.
All right, in the second one, he's where's this text?
Papers in front of you.
Oh, that one,
That was 75 words stuff, wasn't it?
not yet. He's replaced deleting the word homes from ballot item 1, leaving it with lots.
Yes, right.
Right.
Yeah, I think
Same
that just
paragraph.
goes in line with what he was saying up
Yep.
above.
All right. His comments don't line up to his, all right, the next one was, in regards to the 75 word ballot item. I don't think he had anything. Oh, he did. He said, add into it, no other nomination shall be received from the membership body at the annual meeting, nor shall any write-in candidates be voted on. The next one was changing where the this is old, didn't get updated. We asked if it can be a procedural change, so he said no, it has to be voted on. That is to update the covenants from reading 1 through 19 to reading 1 through 25. The next one was in relation to no businesses in here. That one he had no changes to. The next one was on camping. He's just adding back in what was there. Not show any noxious, offensive substances. For
Did Ted Kathy in the backyard of Redford until That's what he was adding in.
No, he's adding the red.
I think the red was
The
already.
red was there, but I didn't recopy. Some of them I didn't recopy the whole covenant. I just put the segment of the change. So he's like, don't forget that part. Because the ballot has to show the whole covenant. I just sent him the changes.
Okay.
All right, 1D was changing the number of pets. There were no changes to that. The next one was in regards to could we move item 2M, add it to 2A? He said it's part of the covenants. It has to be voted on. So we have to decide whether we're going to put these to be voted ons on the ballot. I'm assuming we should. We already went through and agreed up to all of them. Same thing with, he had nothing. For that one, an update, he said has to be voted on, which is to remove section 50 out of the covenant.
What's
section.
that right above that, John? He's got 3 red question marks. That doesn't make sense. Construction must be completed 9 months from the plate of approval. Is that just a typo?
Yep.
What should that say?
Date of approval.
Date. That I assume was there already, right?
All right, this was our big one where the survey came into play, on, the parking. So he did, just as, updating to remove the like and put any other similar personal property. So that's the one that basically is stating no parking of vehicles, trailers, boats, personal watercraft, RVs are permitted on an undeveloped lot. It's a lot without a house. And then he didn't have any changes to the enforcement of this would be if any drives exist today, the board will identify and review if ACC provided approval. If approval was given, they can continue to use it. If ACC is not, approval was not given, they're not allowed to park anything on that drive. For that, 2K was, didn't have any changes to it. That was to change the verbiage around the use of the propane tank, which is removing use solely for outdoor grills and indoor fireplaces. The roads assessment, there are 2 options with that one. His comment is, considering the current status of inflation, he would not recommend placing a limit on how much it can increase. So basically, take the 2% COLA out of it. The 2% COLA was just copied into it because that's what's on our regular assessment.
I see what he's saying, but even during recession and inflation, everybody has always followed that 2% cost of living.
Yep.
But if, I'm not the lawyer, but I don't think that's dangerous keeping that in there.
Well, it flows with our regular assessment too. It's the same verbiage and language.
Nick, any thoughts on that? Anybody else? This is,
Assessment for roads.
And again.
He's recommending that we take out the 2% gap on the COLA.
don't limit the maximum amount you can exceed it by because of the cost of inflation we're in right now.
Yeah, but how do you dictate that going forward?
Well, that, and even when we've had inflation in the past, everybody's lived by the cost of living increase not to exceed 2%.
Well, my issue is if you remove that, and you have to dictate it every year, which would kind of be less, seems a little shadier than you can really dictate what the inflation rate is on a given basis.
Yeah, which could be dangerous if it was this year.
Yeah, I
Right,
mean,
it could be at 11%.
it's paid from a consumer. I mean, it's a main consumer price.
Do you want to add that in?
Yeah,
instead of-
we aren't deciding.
It's already there. He just
Oh,
don't want us to limit it to 2%.
And the 2% came from our normal assessment. It's already, the normal assessment's already written out.
I feel like the 2% made people more comfortable accepting that cost of living. And the cost of living was so important.
They definitely do now.
2% is nothing. 2% is not gonna do anything. I'm
If he's recommended, don't place a limit on it,
I don't think it makes that big of a difference. I think I go along with what the attorney says.
remove it.
Remove the 2%.
And just so you know, it's removed from the roads, new roads assessment, not the regular assessment.
Right,
It's already in there.
for both of those options, right?
The security assessment, actually, the security assessment, we did not write in a cost of living increase to that. It was just a flat. Or leave it as flat. Leave it, add it.
You guys want the cost of living on the security assessment? Okay, grab that chunk of information from above and put it on the assessment for security.
One was a correction, so he's saying in covenant section 3. Article 3I, paragraph 2, remove, add accepting properly licensed passenger cars, trucks, minivans. He said remove the word pickup.
Instead of not meaning someone's gonna show up in a dump truck. You know what's gonna happen. It might be me, honestly.
I was about to say that. Leave it, take it out. Says pickup trucks in there today. And that wasn't really what we were trying to change in this anyway. It was,
So you're basically saying what commercial trucks is what that would equate to?
Yeah, I don't know what that means by properly licensed. What does properly licensed mean? In the state of Missouri, properly licensed, does that include commercial?
Expired.
It's on the road, it's gotta be licensed.
Right.
So that's property license.
So the,
Commercial with the property license, it's gotta have some kind of.
right,
you're saying leave pickup truck in it.
I think so, but
Okay. All right,
Just like-
trucks. That's not what we were after changing in the darn thing anyway. It was changing it. Right now the boat sticker says rear starboard side. And the policies for the boat sticker is that it's on the starboard side nearest to driver operator seat. So. And that's gotta
That's
go
some
in.
serious questions.
What?
I don't know what that is.
No, it is.
yeah, right now would be the time.
So somebody's on the main lake and somebody doesn't have a sticker and they're riding their boat around out in the middle. How do we go after that person that doesn't have a sticker that's pulling somebody on, a ski?
Oh, look, my 4th of July issue.
Well, what Desiree and I've been talking about with rules from it was that. If what we really need Sherry to do is to drive through and police the boat launch ramp parking. Now, it's not gonna help us if somebody is an owner, lives on the lake with the boat in the boat slip that didn't put the sticker on the boat, but,
We could do that too, though, going around the lake.
have a patrol boat anymore. Sherry gonna drive it.
But you have one.
Yeah, patrol kayak.
But we,
Buy a light that.
so
What about one of those surfboards you could just fly around on?
those are personal watercrafts that are not legal.
Oh, yeah.
Is
Yeah, right.
check the boat ramp launch because a lot of people aren't putting the trailer sticker that comes with the boat on the trailer. Is check the car, it's got the proper tag identification, check the trailer. If it doesn't have what's there, boot them. Because
Which is interesting because you're given a boat sticker with your trailer sticker,
Yep.
same time.
I just wonder if some owners are bringing a friend's boat in here. They don't have a boat. I don't know the answer to it.
And lot owners too is another good
Right.
chunk of it.
You know, and Sherry works, what, 16 hours?
Basically.
So if somebody gets in there
And
at
more
6 o'clock in the morning because they want to go fishing, you know, catch the,
We don't catch
right early, I
everything.
mean,
We don't catch everything that goes on there.
Gee, I know, I've seen her check the part of the boat launch myself. That was yesterday.
Yeah.
I was sitting there waiting to get picked up at
Right.
the thing, and I watched her go by, and she went by every truck out there. So,
But Desiree also talked about having her take a picture of the car if they're gonna boot it. So that. at the
Yes,
time the boot
she is
called,
officially implementing that as well.
or taking a picture of the windshield of the car, so you know that there wasn't anything there on it at the time they
so,
put the boot in.
so tie this back into security with the 13 cameras. Were there really cameras that are gonna be in the boat launch area? And would that be a place to put a camera to tag boats and vehicles that you see the tag or don't see the tag? People going in and out? That way we have a record of it and they can be censured and or sent the bill
I don't
for
know if it's,
Our part is billing and sending a censure to someone that doesn't live in the neighborhood. So if their boat's not registered, the odds of them living here are probably slim, and maybe a friend's boat or a neighbor's boat from the county or whatever. But the idea is that if their boat goes in, they don't have a sticker, or any registration, we have no grounds to censure them because they don't live here. And then the police don't usually do anything about it because of it's trespassing, but in the most nonviolent state.
So we want to go after neighbors, but not strangers.
We can go up to strangers, but there's no end game.
We have the,
Police gotta take care of that.
Yeah,
I mean,
we could boot them, but then you still have to have boots on the ground anyway. Cameras wouldn't help you there. The cameras would help you, identify them if they're there, but you'd have to be checking them all the time.
unfortunately, Greg, once somebody gets their way in here, if they're not an owner, or we can't, through the camera system, tie them into the owner that let them in here. They're not subject to our bylaws.
Well, and the real answer could possibly be,
Really, it's,
and it's a very expensive venture, but a full-time security guard, right? That just constantly just bombing around in a patrol vehicle or golf cart or something that's kind of checking everything. And if vandalism's happening, they can notify the police and they can document all these cars. But again, the cost associated to it, you're gonna be minimum $20 an hour. times
Only
20
work for
hours.
negative 12,000.
Well, if you give them a golf cart, it's stolen anyway. It worked for negative 12,000. But I'm all ears. I'm with the same way. It hurts me too. And I just really, the idea is that sometimes we can only go after our own, which sucks. And the only way to prevent it is to get the word out to people and make sure they know not to do that.
with better security gates system.
So let's get
So
back to the ballot
assessment for
items.
security, where it says $25 per property owner, so what's that in there?
I think there's like, what is there, 1,800 payable plots, something like that?
it should be
Yeah.
like 2375.
About 2,400.
2375 times 25 is 60 or 59,000. On top of our budget of last year, which. Security budget. 29,000. So it's 88,375. But in that security budget is,
29,000 is from the special assessment, I believe.
yeah, because next year's budget for 6 months is only $4,300. But that doesn't include the lakes and beaches security, which would technically be a portion of that.
Is that where that comes out of?
Yeah, there's security on there, $3,000. And then there's.
Hang on a minute. Let's get back to the ballot item motion that we
Yeah.
made. And then we can discuss all this.
Yeah, I have a whole bunch of questions.
There isn't,
Oh, this is just heads review.
they had some questions. Well, that's what we're,
Well, that was about the security cameras. That's not in this discussion, is it?
this part was the starboard, changing the ballot or the covenant. 3, section 3, paragraph 2 says the boat sticker goes on the rear starboard side.
Right.
It really should be on both sides, because sometimes if you're seeing on a dam and it's on the driver's side and they're coming around, you think that they wouldn't have a sticker. And sometimes farther away, you can't see it either. I really think it should be on both sides.
The idea of the starboard side is that that's the side of the boat you would see if you were on shore in any portion of the lake, because everyone goes counterclockwise around the lake.
There were two boats that you can't see it.
Get better binoculars.
Yeah, see, it's probably not there.
Right.
So
Is it one on both sides or?
I don't know,
how much did
I
the
was just
stickers
saying.
cost us last year or this year?
which was another,
Not a lot? Oh, a lot,
probably.
or 12,000 going up if we put 2 stickers on.
Vito.
Don't you think people would have a fit if they had 2 stickers on their boat? I thought that the reason the policy was changed was so you could see it from shore and not just from on the lake.
Really, we already changed it. It's just changing it from rear starboard side to right starboard side, which is basically just a definition in itself.
Well, it's nearest the driver's operator seat. Moving it from the right back to the driver's seat. That's where we
Well-
moved it to in everything a couple of years ago. But the covenant never was updated.
That might be why, because some people don't put it there. Yeah, that wasn't my main question. My main question actually was is if this actually does get passed and everything with everybody, with the probability of lowering the pricing on the sticker, because everybody's gonna have to register their vehicles and put a sticker on all the vehicles registered to the thing. So would it go back to 2 or would we make it 5 for sticker?
Which one, Patsy?
The last one there that we were talking about where it's, where it's requiring everybody to have license or stickered vehicles.
I think there's been enough correspondence in the negative direction to go around and change. At least have another conversation about the $25
Which is why I said to lower it, so that way it's not,
if everyone has to have it.
if everyone has to have it, that was the argument, yes.
But that's gonna fall under whatever we end up doing with security.
Never gonna be able to afford.
I still think we should do it anyway, just for the simple fact that we would have those license plates. Because since right now they are only for the beach, that leaves people who don't buy them right now, that leaves their license plates out. So if they tailgate in, we're kind of SOL.
I mean, I'm not gonna get a lot of feedback that's positive about this, but realistically speaking, if we're requiring it, should we not just give it to them? So if you have the registration and insurance that gives you your license plate number, shouldn't that be a benefit of paying your assessment? Because if you're requiring it, then it's really kind of. I know, but.
The can worms on me again.
I'm not trying to. It's just, you have 3 vehicles, now you're gonna be responsible to pay for all those stickers, I mean.
Change your,
Back to
change your
$2
12
again.
grand to $37,500. But there are $25,000 worth of stickers, auto stickers. that were sold on this new program. So,
Which is why I said put it back down to,
right, but we have to adjust, you take it back down, we gotta adjust the budget back down.
Maybe depending on how many cars there are. So if we buy one hang tag for 3 vehicles, would you need to change it to, what, $7.50? Still get the same
You
amount
know-
of revenue, but you have 3 times as much coverage.
We used to try to say people had to have a sticker, and what do we think? Maybe a quarter of the people had a sticker. We're not going to get everybody to have a sticker unless you have to get in the gate.
Unless
So
you have
you're not
RFID.
going
Unless you
to
tie-
make it
unless
up.
you tie something to it, that, you don't do it by accident, the cards are getting turned off. Yeah, I get in, or we go to RFID. But all you have to do is change the rule. You don't have to change the covenant. The covenant reads that the vehicle, this is where the conflict comes in between this one and the other one, which isn't even the ballot items, that it refers to every vehicle having a sticker. as per the rules set forth by the board of directors. And there isn't a rule as far as every car needs a sticker.
Which was the point of the covenant change.
That's not this covenant change though. This
Well,
covenant
4
change
years
was to move the boat sticker and correct the boat sticker.
Yeah, the only
that's
thing
other
that
end
changed
of
it
it.
here
That was
is
in the beginning of it.
Well,
Any
Elaine,
owner-
Hayes submitted another one, which was to strike the exception.
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, wait a minute, that's not.
However, that got tabled because we don't know what we're doing with security yet. Because we're gonna go to RFID, then you,
I thought we were going to still, because it's still conflicting. It has to be one way or the other.
This
Because
is,
there are two rules in the or there's two lines in the covenants that conflict each other, this being one of them. And then the other one that says all visitors and all roads that are operated within Raintree have to have some kind of identification on it.
says per the rules as designated by the board of directors. There is no rule that supports that covenant. So we either have to make a rule and approve it, and then you would strike this one.
So then it's just gonna end up staying the same. And we're still gonna have the same issue that we already have.
Hopefully something's gonna happen with security that won't.
Right, but if we don't decide to go with the RFID, it's still left open. And conflicting. Okay.
You're right.
Nope, not even in there. We'll see, I guess, where it goes.
so your idea is you want everyone to have a Raintree identifying car sticker?
Mm-hmm.
Let me just ask this, not proposed, right? How are we gonna enforce it?
Because when people have to come in and get their stickers or pay their assessments, we can still put it on there that they need to register their vehicles.
They're not coming in to pay their assessments.
You may not get everybody, but even if you do get 80%, I know there is some benefit to seeing a Raintree sticker.
Yeah, so Deb just made a good point. They're not coming in to pay their assessments
They
anymore.
are not, but 9 times out of 10, they come in here at least for something. Most people do.
Other stickers, golf cart stickers, boat stickers, all that rest of stuff, pavilion rentals, campground rentals.
Send it out by wherever, and nobody has to come in and get everything. Send it.
See, there you go. That's why we had the thing.
Like a magician.
John's got a good point, or Deb, or whoever said it. How are we gonna enforce it for the 100 people that come in the office? Out of 2,500 or 2,400? I mean,
Well, right off the
See a
bat,
vehicle without a sticker. Write down a license plate and send it to the office.
that's been in there forever and we didn't really enforce it. We couldn't enforce it.
the benefit is that all of your vehicles would be able to park at the beach. Right off the bat, because the car stickers are there already. Right? And I think that there is a benefit associated seeing if you see a car slow rolling down down the street, to see a Raintree sticker in the window shows that they're from here and they're not someone doing hood ride stuff.
I usually roll down my street during Halloween when I got my blow ups up, so.
So right now, the only reason people have to get a sticker on their window is if they're gonna go down the beach.
Any
Or golf cart.
common
or
areas.
Yeah, because I say I've got 2 cars. I had stickers on both of them until this year,
Exactly.
and I've only got sticker on one. 'cause
You
I
don't
take
even need
down
that.
the
You
beach.
can take a hang tag and put it wherever you want it.
I can always stick the hang tag thing to the beach too, if that was,
Yeah.
It's across the street.
right, but I'm saying if we made every vehicle be stickered and put it back down, we
I
just use
don't
the hang
care.
tags for,
Another layer of security.
I don't care how you do it.
like Miss Tilly said.
Just it's evidence that 25 to 30% of the people bought a $2 sticker for their car. They surely aren't going to pay a $7 sticker for their car.
I said 2 to 5.
If you want to put it in there, I don't have a problem with it, but don't expect it to be enforceable. And the people that are breaking the laws are not going to be the people buying a $2 to $7 sticker.
For the most part, a good chunk of people's license plates are actually in this system. The most that aren't are usually the visitors. But even still within here, it's good to still have some kind of form of that. Or give an incentive if they got the email, come in and get your sticker for $2 after this date, it's $5.
It would make the cameras make more sense if you have, if you make,
License plates.
if you have the license plates, you made the auto stickers mandatory, bring them back to $2, then we'd have a database
Because
of all the
even
license
now, if
plates.
somebody's tailgated in by a vehicle they don't even know,
The next thing you're gonna hear then is that golf cart stickers better go to the same price as car stickers.
They've
nobody
never
touched
been-
golf cart
they've
stickers. They've never
this-
been.
They've never been the same as car stickers.
That was why the car stickers got changed this year.
So to answer the question,
Right, but we at the same time still weren't able to enforce everybody getting a sticker, which is why it also got switched because of the conflicting covenants. So that way, if this one got switched back to being able to force everybody or, well, make it to where it is an actual enforceable situation to where you can make everybody have a sticker. It can go back to being the $2. That way you're requiring everybody to do it. So you're not having just a chunk of people do it just for an amenity.
What I'm asking here is what you are
For
asking.
4
is
years, that's what we were trying to do.
to Basically whack this covenant all together and change the other one in section 2.
wait a minute, what if we just drew a line through accepting property license passenger vehicles?
That's what it was supposed to have been.
If we just strike that out, then we should be good to go.
We'll go back to the numbers before you get too far. We had 25, sold 1,000 stickers so far. $25,000 at $25 a piece. Last year, we sold a little over 1,500. Over net $2 a piece. So we didn't lose that many of them. And it was 3,000 in revenue. If you're gonna try to keep this revenue neutral and not make that $12,000 jump to a higher number we have to cover, you need to sell 12,500 stickers at $2 a piece. To get everybody's car out here a sticker. We're, you know, if you have 2,400 property owners.
So
out there-
finance wise, it can still be adjusted to a different thing, but the point is nonetheless to make sure that every vehicle is stickered.
Doesn't, because it doesn't have to happen tonight, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Well, if you're gonna change this covenant, it does.
Because you gotta basically,
well, if you change this covenant, you can't force people to buy a $25 car sticker for every car they have. That's, you can't do that.
I don't disagree on that.
$25 golf sticker only allows you to park in common areas.
Well, if you scratch this off, it's gonna tell you that
That's-
everything you own has to have a car sticker. Everything you're gonna has to have a sticker, and currently our car stickers are $25.
So that's what I'm saying, you gotta change that other part too. The other
You gotta
covenant.
make the rule, but. you to
Yeah,
make
and
the
have a rule
that
put in.
supports the other covenant.
That wouldn't be hard. I could run it through my committee.
We just gotta figure out the finance part of it is what is rate.
It don't matter to me, I don't,
$25 for their first sticker and then $2 for each.
Can't see everybody paying 25 still. And when they're being required to pay for it.
Can I say something? I just, something that happened to me that I just want to share. I have been here 5 years and I've always bought a sticker. I've always been a good kid. I've paid all mine. And to me, lakes and beaches, everything is an amenity for me as a homeowner. But, because I don't go to the beach. So I didn't buy a sticker. I had family over and I want to go show them the beach. And I was like, I can't go down there because I can't go get out of my car and show them the beach because I don't have the proper sticker. So for the first time that I lived here, I felt like I could not take advantage of the amenities that we have here because I chose not to. Now, I chose not to, but having a sticker, knowing that who's in here, yeah, you're not going to get everybody. We can't keep going. What if? The majority of people are good standing people here. The majority of the people will follow the rules. There's a few bad apples and that's anywhere we go. And the thing of it is, I want to know who's in if like Nick said, you see somebody with a sticker, you're like, okay, they're going slow, but yeah, they're probably a good person. And then, having the hang tags was very much to me, a privilege for me as being a homeowner that I could have a hang tag that when my son comes in from out of town, I wouldn't have to go up to the office at the last minute. He came, he can give him a hang tag and he can go down and enjoy the view like I want to, or go play golf or whatever it may be, you know. So I feel like I'm being like pushed out. And that's the only, and that was my choice not to buy a sticker, but that happened to me just this 4th of July. And never thought about that repercussions of what y'all did.
I'm sorry, but I think she's right. I mean, you do pay a POA fee to live in this community and she couldn't go to the beach.
The hard part is the POA, we can't get an assessment increase through. That's the problem. So we can't keep playing in the same $365 per lot and maintain in the current world.
So increase the POA,
And then if it goes and doesn't pass,
then it doesn't pass. And
then what?
try again.
then we tried every year.
We did it for 13
That's why
years.
you try it again. And if people.
Then you have no roads budget.
Big in front of your house,
Roads,
that
no
beach,
lakes.
that's good.
But then you're already,
Eventually You will do something.
But you're so far behind.
To make it happen.
but you're so far behind at that point, the roads have completely dissolved. If you leave it 13 years, we've done it out here. Look at where the roads are at.
Look where the lake's at.
Yeah.
Tilly, let me ask you a question. Are you saying for $2, so I heard what you said, there's a few bad apples, but at 1,500 people purchasing stickers of 800 homes, there's more than a few bad apples. There's plenty bad apples. We have been told by legal that we are not the police department, and if somebody's driving down the street, don't go looking if they got a sticker or not.
Well,
Go ahead.
That being said, well, I wouldn't suggest that, but that being said, I don't know how we can control that. I mean, we've got cameras and this and that and the other. We're trying to reduce the amount of work the staff has to do with all like Rever and City and Village. And all this is going to add a lot to that. Not to say that we can't do it. We used to do it, but I've had people tell me they've lived here for 24 years and they've never bought a sticker. They've got 4 vehicles, they got a golf cart, or they might have bought a golf cart, but they've got motorcycles and all kinds of stuff. So there's more that are not going to buy it than are. That's my main point I want to make. The other point is we couldn't enforce it before. Deb, and you've been here longer than I have. I don't know how we ever enforced it.
We didn't enforce it. We asked people to buy stickers and they said, no, we don't have to.
So you're really, now you're on the flip side of it. You're penalizing the people that are abiding citizens the same way. And I'm not dismissing what you're saying. I agree with it, but
We could come up with an idea, and it doesn't have to be this year or whatever. I agree with what you're saying. I feel the same way, right? That the assessments that we pay should pay for the lakes, and that's where the money's supposed to go. For us to pay for the lake and then have to pay to park there seems like double dipping. I feel the same way you do. But the numbers and the assessments not going through is what's causing the blockage. And that's where all this riff is coming from between everybody, is that there's not enough money to do what we want to do and maintain what we have, because there's 11% of inflation rate that's going through. So realistically, we had talked about this previously. We could still take the total income that we have with all the stickers as they're going now, divide it out per paying property owner, and come up with a new assessment that would allow everyone to have all the stickers. You know, if you showed the proper form of registration and insurance, you can get a boat sticker for free, and you get car stickers for free, and everything could be free. You would just pay for it up front. It would just be divided by the amount of people that have it. But as soon as you do that, people are like, well, I don't have a boat. I don't want to pay that same amount. And I have 4 boats. That guy's not paying anything. So no matter what we do, it turns into an issue. And that's the hard part about in this job. And it's why we spend so much time in these meetings, is trying to deduce the best possible situation for everybody. And I completely feel the same way you do. And the way I think about it is, it's just our assessments increasing, right? So I have to pay $100 for my boat and $25 for a hang tag, and $20 for, so I got $150 worth of stuff that I just kind of constitute that as an extra assessment that I don't have to pay at the assessment time. And I kind of move forward with it, because I think for the benefits that we have, I don't think that we're at.
well, then why? And I brought that up and everybody jumped on me about, well, I don't have a boat, I don't have a golf cart, I don't have this or that. Why don't you do this? Assume everybody that has a house out here or a lot that's going to come out here has 2 vehicles. With the assessment, increase it enough to cover whatever this amount is. Assuming they got 2 vehicles and they live here, they might have a boat, they might have a motorcycle, a golf cart, whatever. That covers the people that live here. For the people that don't live here, they pay a subset of that amount to get 1 or 2 stickers. But if they want other things, then they got a $100 fee on a boat, a golf cart, whatever. But that's not gonna be decided tonight, but there's more than one way to skin a cat. We can come up with a scenario.
The first and foremost decision is really just getting it picked one way or another. The money aspect and everything else can always be decided at a later time.
Right. To your point, 13 years of non-assessments because of a lawsuit that we spent close to $1 million on. Now we're in the middle of inflation, which is equivalent to a lawsuit. So it's just like,
But I guess my point is it may not pass on the ballot, but if it is on the ballot, it might pass. It might not, but it might. If it's not on there, it definitely won't. Period.
no, I don't disagree. If it ain't on there, it has no chance of passing,
Right.
but
But no matter, even if you do put it on there, there's gonna be people that don't feel that they're being represented correctly, even because they are increasing the dues. And you know what I'm saying? There's no,
That's the country. People don't feel like they're being represented.
that's exactly how we got to where we're at here. And how do we know that your situation is better than what we have currently? You may have the same amount of flack. You know, that's the hard part about this job, is that there is no real right answer.
If you're hurting for money and we're $6,000 short, and we're gonna be 12 for the year, and it could be more, might be less, then put something on the ballot, let the people vote and make the decision. Are
We did with the
going-
roads and the security. That's basically what that's stemming
I
from.
mean,
We've
we
done
still
that,
have-
haven't we? We put security and we put roads on the back.
yeah, and we still got 3 years of what we originally put on there for assessment increases, right? So we are working in that direction, so that's the problem. We just had to pay the country club, we finalized that. Then we, right before that, or right around the same time, we got an assessment increase 5% over 5 years. So they got tagged with that. Now we're asking for security and roads. I mean,
Just.
do I think everybody should be paying more here? Absolutely, but
But
I'm not everybody.
I see it where we're micromanaging everybody. We're dinging people for this, $20 for this, $25 for that, $25 for this, $25. Oh my God, you combed your hair the wrong direction, $25. It's silliness. Put it on the ballot for some type of an increase. If it's $3.50, make it $5. You know, and if it passes, it passes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Then we try it again the next time. Until there might be a point where indeed it passes and we are actually in the black versus being in the red
So are you asking to pass an additional assessment increase
yeah.
plus the one that's already in place?
I'm talking about a POA. What do we pay? $3.50 for POA? For
365, yeah.
yeah, $3.65. Be 500 as an example. I don't think that's outrageous for
How many
The
property owners you
community.
saying we're paying?
2,400 homes and lots.
I mean, I don't want to pay more, but yet, you know, what are you gonna do here?
The reality is what you're saying is, you know what, we're not gonna dredge the lakes on the money we have. We're not gonna fix security on money we have. We're not gonna fix the roads on the money we have. So either the infrastructure falls apart or we get the money that's needed to do it. And like I've said before with the roads, last year we got a quote. $510,000 was the lowest quote to fix the 36 worst spots in Raintree. That wasn't fixing the road problem. It wasn't fixing the roads that have a dirt base under it. It wasn't fixing all the roads that are gonna be throwing chunks of asphalt out of them,
I understand that. And I guess where I'm coming from is we all live here. We all want the cost of our houses to continue to increase, right? Because if we do retire or or we go into a retirement center or whatever, we want to be able to have some money when the house sells.
That might be true for homeowners. Unfortunately, the lot owners outweigh the homeowners.
That's been the problem over that. You get voted, homeowners get voted down by.
I will
That's a little bit
say,
why it's gotten voted down in previous years.
oh, no. Yes and no, it's been voted down, but mostly because there's been a pending lawsuit and people from 20 through 25 were getting hammered. At the end, $900 something a year. So they were no way gonna pass another assessment.
But Desiree's right. There are a lot more property owners than homeowners, and when somebody get,
It's gonna come down to the ballot
So,
item.
I can't make a second only property owners.
Yep.
I personally, I think I've witnessed it that at the election, especially when there's critical things on the ballot, there are more homeowners than lot owners that show up. That being said, that is a risk you take, but if that passes, then it's a no-brainer. But you gotta figure out, I mean, I don't have a problem raising the assessments, but we can't be thinking for us. This has got to be a decision that everybody in here agrees to, and if you want to put it on the ballot and it passes, then we got nobody to blame, but hey, everybody voted for it. But we've got a lot of things moving money right now. We got one assessment for or two assessment possibilities, two options for roads. We got one for security. We're on the this will be the third year of a 5-year 5% increase, and then the cost of living moving forward after that. So if you're going to ask people for more money this year, I think you got to wipe out the other assessment, unless you're talking about getting enough money right now to take care of all these ballot items we're talking about in assessments, which would be two different options on one and another. I mean, if you think $500 more for everybody is the right way to go, then because indirectly, that's about where you're going to be. And I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying we got to clean up the ballot and what we're going to be paying assessments in.
And we've got to take care of the infrastructure of Braintree, of the lakes in general, because we all are homeowners and we all want our property to increase in value. And if it turns pretty crappy and the roads are falling apart, you know,
Everything,
we're not gonna be happy.
everything costs money. I mean, even to just,
People start moving.
even to do Spring Lake, just to treat Spring Lake's gonna be in the neighborhood of $15,000 to $25,000, right? So that money's gotta come from somewhere, and dredging fund, that needs to be in the infrastructure, our worst case scenario fund. All these things require money, and we're operating at the bare bones as we speak right now. So we're cleaning the stuff up. We're going light item by light item to figure out where we can save money, how we can make it more efficient with the CCI networking and things like that. But it really, the brass tacks of it is, you need more money. You can't justify it. I mean,
To put it on the ballot.
Well, I understand that, but 4 years ago, we had people say here that they couldn't afford $25 to get a golf cart sticker. That was taxing on them financially. So you've got people on both sides. I understand that, and I agree with Dave. You have to look at it collectively for everybody, not just, what we think.
Here would be I mean, it's a little late now, but maybe for next year, if you want to do something like this, we have several town halls and the biggest problem that scares me that we get accused of is this is our idea. So putting another $350 on everybody's property, I'm not against that, but does the majority of that want it? So we throw it on a ballot and you get a bunch of people running people up here and they vote for it. Now you got people that can't afford it and get run out of here because of what they think we did. So maybe we need to have some town halls and say, hey, what do you want? Do you want holes in your road or do you want to pay $350 more?
Well, that was the point though of having an assessment specifically for the roads, because people value roads. That extra 50 or whatever it is that we end up getting for roads is in effect an assessment increase. They're just getting it earmarked for their highest value.
correct. And that's to take us into the future with it, to try to catch back up, but it'll be a huge help. No one's arguing that, but it is going to be earmarked for roads. I don't think it's going to be much of a benefit for the rest of the community. I don't think it's going to remove any of the existing budget we have for roads.
Well,
Right, it would be in conjunction with.
Well, back to the ballot.
we can't solve the unsolvable tonight, right now.
I don't believe so either, but
9:16.
do we agree with Ted's updates or do we want to change this? If we want to change it, somebody has to make a motion to move differently on this.
I don't think we have enough information right now to change it, but what do you think, Desiree?
I'd still like to make the motion just to get it in place.
Do it.
So I will make the motion to.
Hang on a second, you need to first make the motion to untable the past ballot item that Elaine submitted that was tabled. Because we tabled it based upon what were we gonna do with security. So she put in a ballot item to say remove the parentheses of covenant section 3.II, paragraph 2, which is accepting passenger cars, pickup trucks, minivans.
And you want me to memorize all that? And say
Remember all of it?
right now?
Well, I mean, the ballot item she submitted is currently sitting as we tabled it. So.
So I make a motion to
So-
untable it.
Mhm.
Okay, then I guess I will make a motion to untable Elaine Hayes's ballot item. Crossing out the accepting properly licensed or the passenger cars, truck, pickup trucks, minivans and SUVs.
I will
Portion
second
of
that
the covenant.
discussion.
So we're gonna be changing, this is just on table, correct? This then we're gonna start a discussion afterwards.
It's in discussion right now,
To untable it.
right?
Then we have to make another motion to change it.
Is any discussion about untabling the motion? All in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Okay, now we can make a different motion.
So I guess I would like to make a motion to go back to what Elaine Hayes said and submit the ballot item for the covenant section 3, paragraph 2, with the exception of crossing out the accepting passenger cars, pickup trucks, minivans, and SUVs from being stickered.
Parentheses.
The part in the parentheses, that part, yeah.
And leaving rear starboard side or right starboard side nearest the driver operator seat.
Nearest the driver operator seat. So with that added to it.
Okay. I will second that.
So in doing this, you're gonna effectively charge the entire neighborhood $25.
I never said I was going to charge it. I said that would be discussed later at a different board meeting.
That would, with this, if this goes through, that would be what's happening. You're forcing every car to be titled and stickered accordingly to the rules currently.
Yeah, because the other covenant that this one conflicts with
Still,
says it needs.
Any owner who owns a golf cart, boat, or any other vehicle for which a policy of liability insurance is required must register with,
Yes, we are removing it.
If you take the accepting out. If you passing vehicles out of this one, and it's really.
it says any owner who owns a golf cart, boat, or other vehicle, be it a car or pickup, is now included, is required to register with the association, registration sticker issued by the association. You're forcing every car in here to have a $25 car sticker.
It does say other vehicle. The other covenant is the one that refers to every car needs to have it per the rules, but there isn't a rule around it
you
yet.
got
So
3 things you gotta do. You gotta update this, you gotta change that other one and fix the $25 rule. All at the same time in my mind.
So I'd have a special meeting over it then and have it done before it goes out.
Are you gonna change the $25 sticker after all these people already bought one?
Could you dictate the stickers to the code?
It wouldn't be able to be implemented right away within the first.
Well, it can't be implemented unless it's approved.
Right.
So that would be September.
So
Could you not tie the car stickers into this covenant?
I think what we're trying to do is. in
Then
this
you're tied there
particular covenant,
forever with a vote.
I think what
But
you're
if
trying-
another board comes through, they could literally via the covenant, charge an infinite amount of money for all the car stickers and cause a gigantic issue.
They could do that with the rule as well.
What if we just say golf
Wouldn't it?
cart, boat, scratch off that or other?
Yeah, I think we need to amend to take the other
Yeah,
vehicle.
so then your
or-
$25
or-
ties just to those
or
2
it's-
vehicles.
Or it's other recreational vehicle, because that could mean your jet ski.
Side by sides, which are not here anyway. Somebody.
Yep. So what if we insert recreational vehicle?
Is that gonna indicate side by side, or is that
I would
gonna,
just say go golf cart boat.
that's the only
Golf
thing
cart
too?
Well, we got golf cart, boat, jet ski. So we'll just.
Add
list
it.
it out.
Just say allowable, say allowable.
Allowable, yes.
Wait a minute, now, you're doing that because you don't want to change the $25, right?
No,
I don't want to get vehicles involved.
we want the vehicles, passenger vehicle stuff out of this. All right, Desiree, did you find the other one?
Yes, it's 1J. All vehicles operating within Raintree must display a property owner's identification or identification as set forth by the Raintree POA Board of Directors in the Rules Manual. Owners shall request that their guests comply with this and all other restrictions, covenants, and regulations. The vehicle stickers is also in section 9 of the security portion of the Rules Manual. And says it's available to all property owners for each vehicle license in the property owner's name, including company-owned or leased vehicles. Must be displayed, I mean, it doesn't really have, vehicles without Raintree identification may be towed at any time. So,
You can't tell anything that's on their driveway, sticker or not sticker, so.
So if you
But
change
if
this,
if we change this and don't do anything else,
you're still not getting your $2.
well, I get it, but nothing, all this does is open the avenue for RFID. It opens the avenue for, if you want a sticker on every car, because then all you have to do is put the rule in place to support the other covenant. This gets,
and you can put
this,
the pricing on it even in the Rules Manual as well.
this gets rid of the conflict between the two of them. It doesn't change anything, because if this gets voted in and it's removed, there's still no rule that says that supports the other covenant yet.
Right.
So until another rule goes in to support the other covenant, if this passes, nothing else changes from what we're doing today. But it removes the avenue. If you want to go RFID, if we decide to do that, you can't enforce RFID on everybody if this covenant sits there accepting all the passenger vehicles, other than the fact they wouldn't be able to get past the gate.
Should be, I think, a little bit worse than what it could be.
And then we can figure out and fix the sticker price and what the rule is if this gets approved. If
Well,
it doesn't get approved, then
if it gets approved, you can't do anything with the stickers. Well, you're talking about car stickers, right? Vehicle stickers.
Yep. nothing would happen until April next year with them anyway.
Right,
So,
so you'd still have enough time, what, maybe 5 months to actually implement something that's gonna stick and then implement it once the new stickers are.
So are you leaving the $25 to park at the beach and the boat ramp and all that still, or no? Does that go away?
right now it stays.
For now it will, but it's hopefully gonna be changed before their renewal, and I think they'll be happier to know that it's not gonna be 25.
I agree, something needs to change because we haven't sold one, we haven't sold one guest day pass parking at $25. All
No.
summer long, and we hit the peak of summer holiday with July 4th, still hadn't sold any.
Nope,
Which is a
So-
good thing, right?
that's a very good
I
thing.
mean,
Well, yeah, I mean, if you don't want the issue that the parking's.
Well, the idea was that there was no, right.
So, right. So, yeah, I mean, that worked, but
Yeah, as
You know.
we've been telling them, it's just easier to buy a hang tag.
Which
Yeah,
makes you
we
believe that
just-
the guest passes were predominantly bought by property owners.
well,
not
I'd say
a
it
lot
gives
of
us,
it.
For a lot of owners.
it gives us to the end of the year to figure it out, because if whatever we change is gonna roll into.
Well, if I'm still here in
Next
September,
year,
otherwise somebody
budget.
else gets taken over.
All right, any more discussion?
Okay, so let me just read this back. We're gonna change this to read, any owner who owns a golf cart, boat, or allowed jet ski.
Well, I thought we said, did we say jet ski?
It said we're trying to get the vehicles out of here. So we're scratching out the accepting part in the parentheses.
Would it be better to not?
But
What was it, Deb?
Instead of specifically naming those things, wouldn't we make the covenants a little more flexible if we say golf carts and other allowable entertainment vehicles are allowed?
We don't want generalization. There's
Okay.
nothing else that's going to happen. You don't register an RV.
What?
You won't put it, there's nothing else to register.
Okay, whatever, go ahead.
And then the last page, there's other vehicle I have to update and that's,
Yeah, so we just take out other vehicle
Yep.
to the end of the parentheses.
Yep.
Got it.
all right. Hold on.
Jet ski, another vehicle on the back part
Should
too,
we
right?
put approved jet ski?
Get, are allowed, maybe should be approved.
Grandfather,
Yellow.
shit.
All right,
Any other discussion? All in favor signify with an eye.
Alright,
All opposed? Motion passes. $75 for a car sticker.
we have to go back to the budget, right?
We have,
Oh,
oh
we
yeah,
had a
that's
different
right.
board meeting.
No, we need to get that done.
So I have a few questions, kind of ran through it real quick. I finally got the,
hang on till we do the other two, because
Yeah,
your answer might come up nice and simple with the last item here in the next one.
yeah, man.
All right, no other unfinished business, right? Thoughts on a security town hall meeting? I think we pretty much addressed that already.
So yes, do it.
Next.
Voluntary, oh, what,
When do you want to do it?
leave
Leave it to me to figure out.
Yeah.
Communications, next topic.
Good. I'll figure out a date for you.
okay. I would say push it in between the board meetings. We got the
Yep.
annual coming up, so be careful of that.
Good.
Braintree Volunteer Network.
All right, well, we'll start with this, Steve, maybe you and Tom can jump in on the maintenance side. Last month, we introduced, a volunteer network that Tom talked about, which, could help, Braintree, add amenities, if you will. He talked about their Goose Creek had this big volunteer network and things they did to help the community from it without taxing a stressed budget already. And then Deb, did everybody get from you Tom's suggestion with
No,
to
I
try
don't
with
think so.
maintenance?
I don't remember.
Okay, well, in maintenance, we have a turnover. And we had asked Tom a couple months ago to try to see what he could do within the world of maintenance to, without jeopardizing and damaging Raintree, what could we do? Or what could he do in his areas to help pull back on some expenses? And so with this turnover, we presented to Deb, and Deb shared it with some of us. I think was not replacing the turnover person that he had. But we would have to expand this volunteer network into volunteers that could help, Tom's crew out with certain maintenance type things. They might be blowing leaves. It could be, the trash dump down at the beach in the pavilion area. Tom, I don't know if you had a whole list of things.
No, excuse me,
No list.
excuse me.
John, Scott, go ahead.
What Tom specifically suggested wasn't just we come up with a list. He didn't give a list. He had a specific request that people volunteer to help clean up all the volunteer plants and weeds that come up along roadsides, and that the maintenance team would come pick them up. but they would save 2 days a week if we had a volunteer team who would go through an assigned road and cut down all that foliage growing on the road.
That probably gets the ball rolling. There's probably other things you could add to it as you progress, but that would be a start.
For the volunteer network. What about helping Sherry out on nice holidays, a volunteer person at like the boat ramp? Helping with things like that. I mean, is that what we're looking at? Okay.
Anything that we can save money on that would normally be a paid employee or vendor.
How's it gonna, Tom, how's it gonna affect you during the winter time?
We have 3 sections, we have 3 trucks, we have 3 guys. That's, you know, with the exception of some really extreme, long drawn out events. You know, we've done through.
No, that, but Mr. Tom, didn't you get quite a few people last year offering to volunteer to help out too with the longer hours? Like residents?
Snow removal?
Mhm.
That's not something you can jump in. What I specifically talked to Deb about was, just off the top of my head, if, you know, guys wanted to, you know, get an organized manner, pick a road one week and go down and trim, you know, try to beat back the woods, you know, and lay it on the ground, we could come back and we could remove it, you know, within a day or two, you know. What I was really trying to get across when I spoke last month was that it was an organic volunteer system. There was nothing, the board down there has nothing. The groups complied with all the rules, they paid all the fees, that they use the community center, they pay for the fees. Very organic. I mean, not that organizing something, you know, through kind of a volunteer committee wouldn't be a bad thing, it'd be a great thing, you know, but that, I can't say, haven't really had that conversation yet.
I would love for it to be organic, but I think it mainly just get started with the board somehow. Communicating that. Unless we got 20 pairs of gloves, we can just hand them out tonight.
Well, my understanding is that they have a project, so they deem a project, whether it's the board or whoever, and then they just ask for volunteers. Like they needed their pavilions painted, so they said, okay, this is what we need, and people came down and they donated paint and their time and got it done.
Give it time and date
Mhm.
and a
Yeah.
project.
Makes sense.
Tom, you think that's enough? And you think it's not solely for the maintenance is, I mean, it's just helping clear the brush off the roads enough?
Well, I mean, right now, it would be a huge problem.
You know, I'm with you. I'm just thinking bigger picture is,
Financially enough, is that what you're asking?
well, no, I
No
mean,
time.
does he, you know, if we try to replace a person with volunteers, what are the volunteers gonna do besides just cut back the brush?
Well, I mean, you know, there's, lots of. stuff that could be done. We used to have a beautification. That's a lot of.
So you'd have other things that you could direct us with and what we, okay.
You could give us,
I have some of them.
yeah, you, I mean, that's the thing.
We're not painting your house, Tom.
Then there are people that are, you know, hired with that. That they drive it. You know?
Yeah.
And, you know, anything but the zone. They did good.
Maybe
It's just the other kind of thing. I mean, you know, again, my experience in another area, and, and say, okay, we got this project. We're gonna, do a little fundraiser, we're gonna get money for material, and then we're gonna have a date, we're gonna do it, and then we're gonna crack back and drink some beer and have fun.
So we have,
That's what it is.
we find success with that in,
Town at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning and everything thereafter.
so we've seen some success with that at Duck Camp. What they call it is a work weekend, where it's a certain amount of, maybe once a quarter, we have a work weekend where you get 30 volunteers to show up. And of those 30 people, you say, okay, what's everyone's talents? Well, I can cut wood. Okay, you and this group go over here with a chainsaw and the lawnmower. I'm mulch crew. You have a couple of people go over there and kind of that day have a list of things that need to be completed. And then you have like just a formal work weekend where if anyone's around or anyone's available, pop in for a few hours. If you get hot, go home, and then we'll throw a small party at the end of it. It might be a more of a event versus, signing up to go mulch the front thing by yourself. Like, damn.
Well, they'll say the HOA has been doing cleanup day for, I don't know, 30 years. And they put out signs and they beg people to show up, and people don't. People don't. You end up with 10 to 25 HOA members maybe, but nobody else shows up. People
I
don't.
bet you if you get the golf cart community involved, that might be.
I think it would be more of like, we broadcast it through email and social media.
Media, yeah.
I don't know that anybody on this,
With schools do it, lots of organizations do it, like you said, a work day. However, there is still a leader that says, okay, we need 10 women who organize the pantry, the kitchen, let's say in the church. We need 10 men to do the propaganda of leads. There's still an organizer of this is what we need. You can't.
Our Lord and Savior, Tom.
I understand what Tom's
Well,
saying.
I specifically mentioned the different groups we have. They have leaders.
The other thing they do is they have money fundraising through like barbecue, they'll have a barbecue day and everybody's invited.
We'll just charge per comment on Facebook.
well, let's, would that solve everything? Tom, can you get us a list of tasks or something that you need help with? And if anybody else thinks of anything that can be done, and then we'll just start posting them out there, whether it's painting the pavilion or we'll ask for volunteers and.
I agree with what Nick said. We do this like the church camp. We've done that with the entire season. Where we used to live, they had them every quarterly cleanup days or whatever you want to call them. And whoever showed up, if you had a chainsaw, great. If you were spreading mulch, great. If you can organize a pantry, great. You just have like 3 or 4 days a year and you just say, here's the date you put about the beginning of the year, and they'll be bringing it back. Tom doesn't know now right now, but I guarantee you. Would be surprised. They'll have plenty of it.
I guess my concern would be, that this is all great. I just want to make sure that you're covered for that fourth guy by volunteer work.
Well, yeah.
So I think we can move
Well,
forward.
if I can expand on that. So I'm willing to try it. If we can do that and not commit to a fourth person for the rest of the year or for a set time and see how it works.
What if somebody gets hurt? That's a problem.
It's just,
Well, you don't let him drive the salt truck. I don't let him. I don't suggest that anybody even use a chainsaw on it.
right.
Coming from the COA. Or a lot of, a lot of your.
And that's, I guess, I think, the list you give us of what, the needs would be, would determine whether or not we'd be able to fill those, do those kind of jobs and not get in trouble.
You can sign a waiver too.
Or something. Wait, I don't think, the waiver's not worth it.
Well, just put it on those social media and find the people that want to show up. And
See what happens.
On their own.
See what happens.
So do you think somebody from the board need, like, I agree with Nancy, somebody's gotta be the driver of this. Is it the board? Is it a volunteer manager or what is it?
You'd be great to run it.
I guess, I was gonna say, I'll run the maintenance right now, but.
Yeah, so you wanna take it?
I suggest start with a list of ideas from Tom and from me and from Bonnie and from Frank. Just everybody call Tom, you want his number? This is not on.
Steve,
I understand. If a bunch of women want to take care of the flower beds and something, don't go through the COA. It's allowed to do it, but like you said, it's got to be within the rules of what does not have to go through the COA.
What kind of permissions?
They would ask for money.
Well,
They would ask.
They had a budget.
For money, that's the part which they said too, it comes out of the volunteer pocket if they want.
And that makes it-
Yes, ours.
Again,
Bill,
it's still coming from the POA.
right, let's
Still
do,
being controlled by the POA.
Steve said he would kind of spearhead it, so all them things that you just said, run by Steve, he'll work with Tom, and then we can start promoting it and putting it out there and well, gloves and boots.
After he takes his POA hat off.
Yes. He's the liaison to maintenance, so that'd be the best place to start. All right, so I think we're good with that. We'll get the word out. Everybody be ready to work. Back to the budget.
I'll get the communication.
So you had questions.
Yeah, yep. I kind of went through, just so I'm understanding correctly, there's a delineation in the thing. You have the actual for 3 quarters plus last year, 4th quarter, which is a quote unquote, a full year budget. And then the one next to it is a budget as like a full year-ish as well. And then the line to the right of that is the difference between those two, correct?
Correct.
If you go through and you find, first of all, the ACC inspectors, that's $1,000. I think that we can, I know there's been a bunch of questions about that as well. I don't know who's taking that money, but I think that could probably be negotiated. We can talk about that at the ACC to see if we can figure out, we can get that removed, really start that process. But when we go down to dues and subscriptions, 2468, which we have a $500 budget in there, but we spent 2468 in dues and subscriptions. Do we know what that was about?
What page are you on?
2.
On the utilities, Edmund.
I know a bit is a publication.
Say it again, but Deb, you cut out.
A good chunk of it is a publication that we have to get. It's a legal publication and it's got a lot of, I don't even remember what's in it, but I know we had to have it. I'll have to check with the office staff on what that is.
Yeah, because we're showing a $110 budget for that $2,500 line item.
Well, that's just the first 6 months. The other,
Then it would be $210.
no, the bill,
No,
look at
look.
the other side. Look at the last column.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
That's a subscription.
It's that it lands in the second half of the year.
Okay.
Payment wise.
Newsletter production.
Right. That's another thing too. So
That's in the covenant though.
yeah, but we spent $7,300 out of our $4,500 budget on that. So why are we not budgeting for the full amount if it's in the covenants?
What I hear what we,
Is it like the bottom of that first or second page, Doug?
I don't know that.
It's because we cut back the one newsletter for this new period. The only printed newsletter going out forward
Well, this is the previous.
is the ballot.
Okay, so this,
Along with the ballot items and the candidates will get mailed out in early, mid-August, right? When
Early
Yeah,
August.
is when it'll go out. And that's the only mailed one. Prior to that, we had more mailed.
We did.
We already
Three
changed
or
it.
four a year.
Yeah, so we already changed that one. So we had the city and village coming out in this next budget of 12,400, which is gonna be the majority of our issue budget wise. We went over $38,000 in hourly wages. That obviously shows, including Joanne and Sue, who don't work here anymore.
That was because of last year.
That's still for last year, okay.
That's been remediated.
We spent 3273 in vacation this year with no budget,
That's all Tom does is take vacation.
but we should at least have something budgeted for that,
What, where you at?
middle of the page.
Little vacation.
Payroll expenses.
What do you get, Tom? A week, 2 weeks? 3 weeks? 3 weeks. So yeah, I agree. That needs to be a budgeted item, definitely.
So that takes our 12 to 15.
Well, but you may need to check though, because it might be that the vacation is in the payroll and salaries,
It wasn't last year.
but but if you look at that column, I'll bet you that's the pullover from the fourth quarter of the prior year.
You've seen you've already reallocated that.
My thought is that we just have to double check it.
Yes, that's all I'm asking is to double check
It's
and
the
just to get an accurate
The
number.
vacation is in the salaries already.
Right, it should be baked into it. We just gotta make sure that's the thing. When we go to, so the fuel, we spent 17,619 out of a 10,500 budget. That $7,000 is just inflated fuel costs. It's only justification for that. So that, and I think we had that one leak. That's still a significant over budget on that. General
So
maintenance,
you're saying the 10,000 is too high?
no, I'm saying the 17,000 is too high. We only have budgeted 10,000, but we spent 17,000.
Yeah,
So the budget for next year being 18,000, depending on what the fuel prices do, that could be some gap to get back. There was another one. The bad debt expense, where'd that one go? That's right.
what?
Bad debt expense,
From the very end, wasn't it?
second page top, I missed it. We spent $32,000 in bad debt expense. And we don't have anything budgeted for it moving forward.
That's not something you plan on.
What is it?
I don't know, but bad debt, I mean.
That could solve our
No,
budget right
that's-
there.
What is it, Deb?
The accountant gives us that number every year.
We don't have anything budgeted for it.
I don't know, that's a 331. It looked a little higher than,
No,
I personally, I don't think that debt expense is really reducing your accounts receivable. It's a balance sheet item. It's not really,
It's actually kidding.
it's not really a check we're writing as an expense.
What is supposed to be the expense? What is it?
Well, it's gotta be one or the other. It's either an income or an expense.
You already
But I
paid
think-
lawyers to.
I think the accountant is reducing telling you what the bad debt is, and he's reducing.
Sort of like that 89,000. Next to it, if you look right to the right of it,
Yeah, where does that come from?
that's when we went through at the accounts receivable and said we're able to collect these.
So that was just a entry here though,
Oh,
right?
no, that's the revenue not collected. It's what we billed and didn't receive.
that's what the issue was with the finances being off last time. It was 87 though, I thought she said, for some reason.
That's what,
Those are two different things. The corrected financials of the 85,000 had to do with the late fee interest ran incorrectly.
So then what's this one?
Bad debt expenses basically money that's on your accounts receivable that you don't collect. You're not gonna be able to collect it.
That's why there's no budget for it, which there shouldn't be, but we also need to figure out how we lower that.
Well,
Now
once,
that's-
we're
That's
doing that
invoice we
now.
sent, we didn't get received, we couldn't collect on it.
How are we doing that, Deb, with city and village?
Collection of attorney.
John, we already went through all those accounts receivable and took out 89,000 of it. So we've already done a big part about trying to eliminate it. Like John explained earlier, that's, when somebody is on a fixed income where they're getting only Social Security, for example, you can't, the court won't go after them. You can't do anything about it.
Didn't you say that was like 17 people?
19 people.
19 at 89,000, holy crap.
No, you had a gazillion entries of
Oh, that
finance
was-
charges.
Okay, yeah, but I thought we were talking
We
about.
only went to collections with actual assessed dollars and cents.
So in that regards, that was cleared, but it really wasn't ever possibly gonna be collected. So it's kind of a,
Yeah,
It was inflating our assets.
right,
right.
so we had
Yeah,
789.
We were waiting to, you're right.
Right, tying that one back to your accounts receivable, is it reduced the accounts receivable? It wasn't that we,
Yeah, it's not a cost per se, it's.
well, I mean, it's.
Cost to the budget or the asset,
It's a
but
cost to the asset, but it's not an actual dollar amount that we're
Spending.
spending. Now, if that thing gets too big and out of control, you run into the problem that you don't collect your assessment revenue.
a lot of these questions will be a lot easier next year.
Well, I know, and that's what you're trying to, first of all, you have to read, you have to figure out how to do.
2.5 years.
Well, mentally, you have to figure out how to do 6-month budgets. And then you have to look at 17 line items, like, I'm burning up over here. So we're still short 12 grand, basically.
Well, we hope this volunteer network's gonna save, well, we know it's gonna save us possibly an employee. And you're really not hurting for 6 months.
Well, and by the time that, if we wait 6 months and that employee's not there, it should have already paid itself. It'll end up as a net zero, basically, $35,000 employee over 6 months. You should be at zero. So,
Or
if-
better.
right, if that's the case, then I feel comfortable.
Everybody good with that? Okay, so I don't think we made a motion on this yet.
Should we include that in the motion, the reasoning? Of why we're doing it was a backup, just so we can document it to ourselves.
All right, I will make a motion to approve the 6-month budget from 7/1/23 to 12/31/23 with the ability to use the volunteer network to offset some of the maintenance cost salary. Any second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor signify with an eye. All opposed? Deb, I didn't hear you. Did you aye?
I did, I.
Okay. Motion passed unanimously.
That was a treated eye.
All right.
Electric bill goes right up by 30%. We budgeted 10,000 and came out to be 13,100. Crazy.
I will make a motion for adjournment.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor signify with an eye.
I.
Motion passes. Open forum. So what we're gonna do. If you have multiple questions, you only get to ask one on the first go round. You can, I will come back to you after that, but initially one question and try to keep the question brief and we will try to answer your questions. Nancy.
Right. Do you know if the lake was treated on July the 5th like it was supposed to be?
Yeah, what, the big one or the little?
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought that was great.
We were both there, you know.
Okay. Okay.
That bothers you.
I'll look at it.
It was,
Last week.
Do we still have to record the open forum?
We had to, postpone.
Yes.
Rain, but not
Did we-
till 2
were we
o'clock. I
supposed to
just
say
wondered
who
if
was
I
talking?
didn't see from that.
We both met with them today. But I did.
On last Saturday. So then approximately 2 weeks. Right? I mean, from Saturday.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Jerry?
I just want to apologize to the board and to the crowd for my outburst earlier.
You should. You should.
No, you're putting words in my mouth. Let me put it in perspective for you. It is not the board's job to drive around and rat their neighbors out. That's what I said.
Driving around and you see something wrong.
I did not say I wouldn't do that. I said it is not our job to get up in the morning at 8 o'clock, hop in our car and drive around the neighborhood. If we see a violation, we can stop and, right. Hey, folks, I get accused of people putting words in my mouth every damn day. We are gonna do our best to support the covenants and the rules, and if somebody's breaking the rules and covenants, we will do our best to handle that appropriately.
But we can't do anything without a formal complaint.
So
Talking on social media
accepted,
does not
Ms.
work.
Hicks. Well, who was that?
I said, she said, fill out a formal complaint, and I said, every single person who lives in Raintree should do that, not just the board.
Agreed.
Everyone should police everyone. I shouldn't use the word police. I'm sorry.
All right. You're up. Yes.
And in regards to the volunteer network, you're asking for volunteers so we can save money, is that correct?
Yes.
Same subject. Answer my question. Then why are we still paying someone to come in here and clean the office, $175 a month, which equates to $2,100 a year, when you have able-bodied individuals working in the office, whether or not it's specifically written in their job description?
That's a good point. It's been discussed. We've talked about it, and it could be something where the office staff does that. It could be where the volunteer network steps up and says, hey, I'll come up there and clean the office. That will have to be something that we discuss with the office, because a lot of, we don't just let every Joe Blow in the back. I don't know, what do they clean when they're up here? Is it just this room? Is it back there? The basement? Just the basement? Oh, and the offices as well? So yeah, that's definitely something we need to consider, because that is a cost that we can recover if we can get the volunteers and the office staff working together.
She does the windows, and I mentioned one time that if I was hired as a secretary, that the cleaning women get paid more than the secretary. And you said that if in your occupation or if your employees, something about that they're supposed, that everyone has to do everything.
Everybody
Doesn't have
steps
to
up.
be written down in both their job description.
That's question number two before I got to the other people. Yes, ma'am.
And the damage from the fireworks and stuff. Have those kids been identified and found yet or not?
The mailboxes, I have no idea. I know there was police reports made, but those were done by individuals. By the Johnny on the spot, and I believe the pavilion, yes.
Because I was gonna say, if not, I didn't know, I mean, I would be willing, and I'm sure a lot of other people, here would be willing to give a reward for things like this, you know, I mean, if it's especially kids, if you do a $250 reward, you're gonna have kids talk.
That's kind of,
Yeah, they're gonna, you know, you're gonna get a teenager to talk for that.
so the,
Also, by taking those pictures and stuff that we have to the schools, the school secretary, stuff like that, are gonna know who these kids are.
so according to the sheriff, they've got it under control. They don't want us doing any social media courtrooms. But they've got it under control and we believe there's gonna be a good outcome to it.
So my son- Who he was, a crap like that. So,
You understand that the mailboxes or damage to somebody's house or whatever, that's purely between the homeowners.
yeah,
POA can do
Right.
nothing about that.
right,
Stuff that's in the common areas that's being destroyed, yeah, that's actively being pursued right now.
okay.
There's not a lot we can say about it right now.
Okay.
It's being actively.
And I would also say, you know, you mentioned putting it out there at the church or the schools. Some of these people might be older than that.
Okay. Yeah, but they
You know,
still probably
I mean-
went to that school, they may know them, I don't know, I mean, I'm just putting out there, that would be a good thing, is the schools.
Tilly, you got a question?
What clarification, because I'm trying to understand. Karen, this program that you're doing, yeah, what it's supposed to keep you from having paper here, but what information is it that you're putting on there?
All the information that you have in the folders right now. Is for the information.
So it's basically your address and stuff like that, but would you have financial,
I don't do.
like bank account? I don't know, I mean,
It'll all go through city and village from now on.
I can see city and village.
No,
Basically, it comes down to you're gonna pretty much digitize all the information for Raintree into this database where it's gonna be accessible for people to get whatever information that they need or the office needs.
okay,
Really,
so,
I mean,
okay.
It's a database.
That's how, so who has access to all this information? Because in the past, I'm just thinking, board members didn't have that. It was all office staff, correct?
So.
Like information about-
Staff will have the same information that they have now,
The staff will?
and the only people that will be sharing information are on the committee, so like Nick, ACC, he will have that information because he has it right now. But he's not gonna have access to any other information in the system.
So board members can have access to what?
No,
Oh, no, okay.
Only if there's a workflow process in the office right now
Mhm.
that we're responsible for, you will have the same responsibility that you have right now in same access. So the office girls will, everybody in the office will have the same structure that they have right now.
So I've got a question to pile on kind of what she said. So Nick with ACC is able to get that information. I happened to walk in here last Saturday and I got handed some tags for some guy who has had a jet ski for the last 90 years and he keeps getting it fixed. I've got his tags at my house. Do I look into the records to see the tags that this person?
you wouldn't get the tags unless the office had already validated that, correct?
Okay. But the office doesn't validate the ACC site,
Yes,
then what would he have access to?
for any of the plans or,
To approve things, they have to look at things like that.
Well, wouldn't that be the same with the jet ski?
I don't,
And, you know, I'm gonna meet the guy whenever he calls me down at the boat dock. And
You don't need his folder to do that.
I'm just kind of,
I can't answer that. I mean, that's really, we haven't got to that.
okay,
We're working on workflows, and the workflows were things that people are already involved in. They always give you information.
okay.
So like with Judge Ray, she has censures. So if she needs, if there's an alert to a censure because it's gonna be automated, it'll go to Desiree, and it'll go to the office staff to review.
So if there's a sensor, and so if somebody comes up and wants to get a tag or whatever, we've got to verify that they paid what they need to be paid, everything's cool. If somebody going into a file, looking it up, and going, oh, wait a minute, no, it's gonna be over here, it's gonna be over there, it'll be in a database.
It's already there.
Right.
Yeah.
And just to let you know, the security on anybody that's looking at it is by folder. So if you don't have that security for that particular folder, then nobody will be able to do that.
Because I was just thinking, okay, so the board changes all the time, so does everybody who's ever been on the board, starting with this new system, will have access to all information, even if they're not on the board, they've had.
I have never looked at anybody's folder, I swear to God. Let me just say something. There is, I mean, there's no like salary information or banking information or anything like that. If you had a censure and you paid it and you didn't pay it, or you're late on your assessments, that kind of information is in there. But what Karen's saying, you're gonna have a folder, say you built a deck on the back of your house, or you put a fence up. There's gonna be a folder ACC. So if Tilly Winchester has something that she wants to add to her deck, Nick has the ability, or will have the ability, to get into that ACC folder. Won't be able to get into car stickers or boat stickers or jet skis, or if you paid your assessments on time. So there's very focalized security around it. Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Is there gonna be backup just in case? I mean, you know how computers are, you know what I'm saying? It's like if you come in and want to have something done, and then, oh, computer.
This,
yeah,
this cloud base, when they have several different areas where they do backups. So for example, if there would be one storage area that's down, they transfer that information. For example,
yep.
Yeah, I just, you said something earlier about more stickers. I was told by a board that that's one of the, they're good, but do. And my question is, why didn't you just on social media and tell everybody? You know, I mean.
If I went on social media, they say I was wearing the wrong color tennis shoes.
Or anybody down the beach.
What do they know? What do they know? The people on social media, why are they the majority of arranging?
Hang on a minute. I did last meeting apologize for all of that mistake that went on. So anybody that was at this meeting or online or heard it or shared it, I apologize for anybody and everybody. Joe, I live on a curve with a speed bump by my house. That's not too hard to figure out. Huh? Okay, then to clarify that even further, I live right down the street from John Irvin that I got accused of allowing him to bid on the network infrastructure. I don't hold grudges, brother. I want everybody to get along. I appreciate it. Frank.
Thank you.
Wait a minute, you said for me. Now you're talking to John.
We sent a question about what we should. Data security, whatever, well. You had a way of reaching that was sent out to how many people?
A little over 1,000, I think.
Okay, we got not very good response, right?
289, I think.
Whatever, but you got a consensus you were able to send out to thousands of people. Okay, my point here, I think the town hall meetings are good for bouncing off ideas and all that. But when it comes to certain ideas, maybe like what Greg talked about tonight, something like that, I don't think we should let the same 20 or 30 people that come here for town meetings and stand here and shout aloud have as much influence on a board, because that may not really be the general consensus of the whole community.
Frank, now we're not yelling up here. Usually, John, I mean, like I said earlier, he drives me nuts with the emails. He's very good at sending emails and surveys, and if we talk about something before we vote on it, he is on top of it. So we will continue to do that. But I like to yell the loudest.
The amount of times that you brought up that consensus, you know, percentage of what everybody said they wanted to do was brought up a lot.
And that's the same with a lot of stuff. It's brought up a lot and people know.
We need to, you know, we need to do something, because look how many people said they wanted to have that done. So yeah, that's probably.
Let me clarify one thing about that survey or census or whatever we're calling it. The criticism that we got is that we already approved the rinse station down at the beach. And yes, we did do that, but we were waiting to get bids back. So we didn't get to that point of where we had 3 bids like Greg's doing now. So we put that back out there to make sure that was still a priority, because that board member had left and we wanted to make sure that we were following up with the right projects. Wasn't that we were thinking it wasn't a priority. We just wanted to make sure it still was, so then we could, now that we have a Lakes and Beaches guy, go forward with that. So if that was misunderstood, Jerry, you had your hand up.
The volunteer thing, if we could do maybe on the weekends, have volunteers like we used to take it up many years ago at the gatehouse out here at the
Guard shack.
guard shack to allow people to let people in and then guide them to the right ways. When I first moved out here, they used to stand at the gate and let people in. They had the little books and they look you up in the book and you were supposed to.
I don't have a problem with that as long as we can get them the data. The only thing that worries me about that is then we, as homeowners and property owners, might expect that to be a constant. But we can definitely bring that up to,
I'm just nervous about, you know, you start doing stuff like that and then people are, you know, if there's a conflict, you're getting people involved in conflicts that don't necessarily you want to be in conflict.
Right. Laura, hang on one second, Joe. Laura,
I just wanted to know if you know how much money is left in the security special assessment that.
about 29,000, I believe. I think, don't quote me on the number, but it's around there. Joe, I'll get to you, Tilly.
John, well, the heck about that assessment for I think that's a good thing. You can't plow a gravel road.
I agree.
And it's not gonna hurt anybody. It was 3 months before or 3 months after. You know, so I think that's what you got to do.
Yeah, it's definitely a step. Derek, you had.
Yeah, there was an accusation made a couple weeks ago that one of the new board members was that huge and that was leaking. Okay, what was that?
I'm safe.
What part? Because I had public twice.
So the one about.
I had family in from Boston, I had family in from Denver, and I had family from St. Louis. And basically, my son invited friends in, okay, he came in. At my house, they had dinner, or breakfast, they all took off and went down to the beach. They went down to the beach pretty early. Then the rest of my family showed up. And we're talking kids too. And it's like, hey, can we get to the beach? So you know when I got on the phone and I called Sherry and I said, hey, is there any place that they can park down there without a sticker? Because it was on the car that my son took down. I bought a sticker for them to go. No, you can't. He took I got this big yellow thing that you could float on, the floaty. He took it down, his truck came back, I took him down. Okay, the next one, God forbid, a golf cart parks in a car spot, and not even a full spot. There was a golf cart here, a guy, his wife just pulled his truck out. So he could pull his golf cart in, so his two children could play in front of it. And I told them looking for a place to park. And the gentleman was being told by Sherry to move, and he goes, no, I'm not going to. I have a sticker. The sign says that it's for people who live in the community. He's here, there's there. Sherry pretty much backed off, and I said, he's right. And I pulled in between. Okay, so what? It's 4th of July weekend, places packed with people. Then a golf cart pulled in behind me, so we're talking 4 vehicles in one spot, basically. Give me a break. What's the problem? But then I got help that in some previous meetings, cars are cars, golf carts are golf carts, and oh my God. Sorry. You know what I'll do next time? I'll park on the dam, which is not legal either, and there was about 500 vehicles on the dam, but nobody said a damn thing to them.
My work is, it's just, this is your first month on the board, and you've already made a request to have 2 rules bypassed you. So I don't want to be a trend. So one, you get.
I agreed to, Desiree put it out the other day to have the stickers put on. Okay,
I did have permission first from the Lakes and Beaches people for all of that, so just saying I didn't do that
so I
because
said, yeah.
of him.
So now we can censor people and charge them whatever, you know? It seems to be extremely micromanaged, I think. It's ridiculous.
It wasn't just
You live
about
here,
the
you
parking.
pay here, you want to go down and see the fireworks, you can get shit for parking between 2 vehicles that are already there. Okay, and I'm parking across a white line. You know, clearly, I didn't know that. Clearly, I didn't know that. That's the other thing I did bring up too.
4 lines.
They- Huh?
You don't know.
No, I'm talking, there were park spots. Okay.
It's
The other
also
thing is,
parked in
the
golf
other
cart
thing that I want to say is this, and accept that or don't. We have 29 pages of bills. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
But until they're changed, you're expected to follow them.
What's on page 20?
Well,
I went through.
Now, Desiree does, he knows.
You know what? You don't like it? Don't vote me in next time. I'm here to help. I'm here to do what I can do.
Let me just make one correction. Desiree, correct me if I'm wrong. If you have your kids down at the beach, you are supposed to be with them, right? Or has that been changed?
No, technically it is supposed to be, but that's one of those fancy enforceable ones, so.
The rule states that you can't have a guest just because
You have your guests down with you.
you have. to-
Yeah, you're supposed to be with them, yeah.
Right, so I know. the rule.
So I just,
Right.
I don't want you getting in any trouble. Yes, ma'am. I don't know your name. That's why I keep saying yes, Melissa.
It wasn't even a real.
Correct.
It's somebody that wants to go behind and stir up problems, and they all probably know who it is down there. It's the beach people that hang out there.
I stopped her.
They got from there instead of saying it, instead of going up to this person. But what I'm saying
It was
is.
not-
It's not. It's in pieces of it, you're getting someone that's going on there without their name. You say, you get to fucking ask them. Let him explain his situation, instead of getting on Facebook and making up a name and stirring people up, that's bull. Go to him and ask
But we've been saying for months now that we should be able to make anonymous complaints. I think
No.
this person was,
I don't think you should be able to make anonymous complaints.
a lot of.
That's why I disagree.
If I have something to say and complain about, I'm gonna tell you who I am.
I'm just saying that, that's.
And if you do, so I just, it depends. I mean,
Everybody did. Hey, guys,
Well, hang on, let me go on record.
anything
Let
malicious.
me go on record. We have a Facebook page.
Down there with no stickers. That's malicious. You knew that was against the rules.
I hear
That's
that.
a sticker. And he did it. He did. Yeah.
I asked you. She said no.
All right, come on, let's calm down.
I woke them down. Do you understand that?
I understand.
Okay, right. I took them down there. I was there with them. What is it you don't understand? I did call.
All right.
Asking if there was any place to park without a sticker, and it's no.
All right, Greg, we've made our point.
I just would say, you have been more communication. I feel like as a homeowner, I know what's going on in our community. So John, I have to compliment you on that because I guess you're the one encouraging doing all that and stuff like that. And I just appreciate you putting in the time.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
I appreciate everybody coming out. Anybody?
I'd like to get on a high note, yes, in regard to my comment last month about the lot on Summer Art on Butcher Lake, that had concrete on it. It was Karen's, and it's been cleaned up beautifully in a very timely manner. I appreciate you, Karen. I don't know, you're right at the most.
What are the odds of that, right?
All right, thanks, everybody, for coming. Appreciate it. Thanks, Deb.
Okay, bye.
Get back.